you believe it's right to fight for what we want, to live the way we please. As long as we have done our best, then no one can do more.
Hello there, welcome to the Flushing Bloke podcast. I'm Siobhan Lucretia, my reflection, danced the dose with me. Let's meet the plucky girl assistants, she said after managing to fuck up that line. Down there we got the Brian.
Hello.
Hello, the Brian. I was going to ask you something and I can't remember what it was.
Still
it was
American.
No, it wasn't that. It was about 20 seconds ago. Oh, yes, I was about to say, I'm sure one of you at some stage is going to record the little dance I do during the theme tune. No one else can see it. That's going to happen.
I'm just, things happen.
I just, get the energy going. You do a little dance to the theme tune. It's the right thing to do. I is professional. So,
Professional what?
we never worked that one out. Down there, in that corner there, well, what could I say about him? Dear me, he's not allowed to join the Communist Party. He's not allowed to join any militia, and he's not allowed to form any militia. It's the quantum event known as Spanky. Are you going to say hello to people? Oh, good. Howdy.
Hello, everybody.
How Texan. Goodness.
Howdy.
And up above and to that side is the... it's a little bit the Wonder Girl, everyone.
Yay!
Yes.
Yep, Jersey Wonders are nice. Let's go backwards a little bit. How's your week been?
A little bit rough. The week itself, work and stuff is fine. But I had a heck of a sinus infection.
Yes.
So I have medication, and I'm better now. But this is day 3 on medication. I feel like a human again.
What's it like?
Don't worry, human is highly overrated. Once you shed that form and go into another one, you'll be fine. You'll be much happier.
Yeah, I felt like a lump of wet cement the last 2 days.
I
So this
want
is a
to know
huge improvement.
where it all comes from. It can't all fit up there, the snot. It can't. It can't.
We're in the
Is
midst
there some sort of
oak pollen
dimensional
season.
portal?
Oak pollen. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Pollen.
Okay, you've lived where there's snow, right? I want you to imagine that the snow fell from the trees and it was orange and it was pollen.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's like that.
It's the time of year where us
Carolina,
Americans come.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the time of year where us Americans come out to our car covered in tree pollen from the trees pollinating so damn hard.
And
Yeah.
screaming,
yes,
oh, fuck,
they're
I've got to watch it.
pollinating each other so hard. Oh my
Yes.
Yeah,
So, between that and then the germy school children, because they bring their germs to school and not their homework.
I've complained.
god. Little petri dishes. Every child's
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, they want to touch everything.
Listen,
the modern
put them
plague
on
pit.
a little island somewhere, give them Lord of the Flies as an instructional manual, and just leave it.
Although, when school children did actually get marooned
Yes.
in Australia,
Yep.
they actually formed a very functioning, cooperative, and supportive community.
That's remarkable.
And
That's
helped
great.
each other in real life.
That's brilliant. That's
yes.
given me hope.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Can't believe
yeah.
they
man.
didn't eat anyone. Yeah, really.
No. In fact, the kid broke his leg, and they helped him. I think it was broke his leg. And they helped him mend and heal and
How long
and
were they,
take care of each other. And
For
they
want of a
were
better
sort
phrase,
of
stranded.
they were sort of the older teenager, so 16, 17, somewhere around there.
Right, fair enough, yeah.
and,
Lord of the Flies was younger.
Yeah, but it's actually a really interesting story. So, and they were then rescued by a captain of a vessel, who eventually offered them employment, and they've reunited with him over the years. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's a very interesting story.
You went out of sync for some of that. I was trying desperately not to laugh because I find it hilarious when people do that. Right, and Spanky, your week?
It's been tumultuous, tempestuous. It's been lots of estuuses.
Ooh, goodness me. Righty
Good
ho.
vocabulary.
Not quite. My week, no, nothing. Nothing's happened this week. We did do the RPG last night, though.
We did.
Yes, we did. It's a great
Uh,
session.
It was
It
It
lots
was
of
a
fun.
it was fantastic session.
It was a lot of
Awesome,
fun.
Yeah.
Sadly, Retta isn't in chat yeah, we've got
Yeah, our first on
3.
Savage Universe too, which is cool.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's true.
Yeah, it's the first show on Savage Universe Media Network.
I was about to say, would you like to explain what it is? But it comes in the title. It's a media network. Oh dear. Yes, a lot of fun had last night, and I gave Retta a moment.
You
did
gave
have a
her
moment.
the anime girl moment.
Yes.
Without realising it. That's just it. I had no idea this was going to happen. It's
Those
up
Enrique
on
Yankees.
Thaco Gaming's YouTube channel, THAC number 0, gaming. Also, you can probably still, if you've archived them, I don't know if you have,
It
it
stays
should
up for
still
a
be
week.
on Twitch. Yeah. So, yeah, go and watch it out. It was a quiet session last night, but it needed to be, because the last session was just death gone mad.
Yeah, it was a lot of combat.
Yeah. Whereas last night,
You're not
it was
going to
just
like
sorting
me
things out.
for the next couple sessions, but hey, that's okay because I'm the GM.
Does
I'm
that
okay
stand
with
for
it.
General Maniac?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good, very good. I approve.
Bring on the murder hobo action. That's cool.
Yes. I actively try to kill them on a regular basis.
Fair enough.
I hadn't ever thought of it.
And then
like
we
that.
play the game and I pose difficulties to them.
Christ, I know a load of bloody psychos.
It's America. We're
I've
a
been
dime
watching.
a dozen over here.
Well, quite. I've been watching The Casual Criminalist, one of Simon Whistler's channels, and I've possibly been watching it too much. But last night and the night before, because it's a 3-hour video, I ended up learning about Jeffrey Dahmer. I'd never heard of him before.
Really?
Icon,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ah,
never
and then
heard
you
about the
didn't
guy that-
sleep for 3 or 4 days, right?
No, I wasn't asleep for 3 or 4 days.
That there is a story that could be subtitled "Adventures in Trepanning." Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
usually his things about 50 minutes long. Sometimes they're a bit longer if it's a longer story.
So did
This
he
was
get
over
into the
3
part where
hours.
He actually cooked the people.
Oh,
or just,
yep. It
making
got
them
to the
zombies?
point he actually sanitized the script he'd been written because it was just going into too much detail.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm grateful
Yeah,
for that.
Dahmer definitely is an interesting character.
But,
Fortunately, a past tense character as well.
Yes.
Fortunately, past tense.
past
Yes.
Yes.
Shanked in prison.
Yep. It's just a shame the other guy got killed as well. Mind you, then again, he was in prison. Ooh.
Hey,
No, I don't
these
like
things
death.
happen.
I don't like
These
death.
things happen.
Nobody, no individual or state have a right to remove life. Life is sacred. That's my own view on death penalty. And therefore, it is the official view of the Flashing Blade podcast. Suck it up, Yanks. Right then.
Exterminate. Exterminate. Exterminate.
Don't say that. I got into an argument with Davros this week. Genuinely. But it wasn't an argument.
What did you do?
Well, someone had posted a thing about being... I can't remember. She's disabled in some way. And she was complaining about electric cars not making any noise. And so I replied that we do. We've got a noise generator that goes up to about 30 miles an hour. Then switches off because after that the tyre noise is enough to let people know. That wasn't good enough. And I said, no, it's a good thing, seriously. And no, he wasn't having it. And I said to him, so, I mean, short of winding my window down and yelling brum brum, there's not much else I can do. And I said, serious question, what do you think could be done? And he made he put some sort of little emoji, which basically, oh, for fuck's sake. And it's a case of just get them to make noise. You driving your
Just get
electric
them to make
cars, just get them
noise.
to make noise.
Just fill in my
Fine,
So he
fair
wants
enough.
them to go-
Noise. I would like a more a better suggestion than just make noise. Give me an
I
example,
have it.
please.
I know the noise he wants them to make. Have
Have
you ever seen the Jetsons?
The Jetsons. Oh, yes, please. I would love that. That's the noise Kriat from the Buccaneer Chronicles is supposed to make.
There you go.
A
We
pootling
could get
noise.
the Jackson sound effects on that, or Jetsons.
I would love that. I would bloody love that.
We could get the Jackson 5 soundtrack on there too.
No, we can't.
I'm saying.
No.
Yeah, just go down
no.
the street. Oh, baby, just give me one more chance.
What is wrong with you
ABC
tonight?
1, 2, 3 or something. Yeah, I'm down.
I have to
boss.
work tomorrow.
Oh, God.
I'm getting it all out now.
I'm playing Dragonflight, WoW Dragonflight. Done a couple of streams, which you can find here, and actually on the YouTube channel, which might be here depending where you're watching this. I'm going to continue with that. I'm rather enjoying being a dragon. It sort of ties in really nicely with the RPG. There's no real news that I can think of.
There we go.
Oh, David Tennant is going to be reprising his droid role in the Ashoka series. Ahsoka.
I didn't know he'd done one in the first place.
He did it from Rebels.
You see, I've said this
Oh,
before.
yeah,
I'm
right.
not the world's best Star Wars
So
fan.
he's going to
So
be voicing the live action version.
At some stage, I do need to watch The Bad Batch and The Mandalorian latest series. I haven't seen them yet. But they just seem very samey.
Wang,
be fair,
right? Or whatever the robot's
I
name was.
don't
Wang or
remember.
Wang or something.
Anyway, mind you, the news of Ashoka is coming. Does make me smile because I remember watching Heir to the Empire, reading the Heir to the Empire trilogy back in the 90s. With
I have the
Thrawn
game
and-
books.
Yeah, that might be interesting to see what they've done with that.
They
I'm
got
trying
a
to remember.
terrific
Were
Thrawn.
those the paperback novels, or were those something else?
The paperback
Those were the
novels.
Okay.
paperbacks.
Yeah.
The Thrawn
Okay, with,
trilogy is
like-
what they're called.
With like Luke and Leia and their children and all that kind of thing?
Before that, even.
Before that. Okay.
I
I
seem to
probably
remember
read them.
Akbar gets removed at one point, doesn't he?
Vaguely.
got
I
stitched
read
up.
through all of that,
Wedge
and I
went
read
off
through
to
pretty
do
much
that.
all the Star Trek novels.
James Blish, Vonda
it's just-
McIntyre.
Wonder if they're going to bring back Joru's Sobat. The Jedi clone. Jedi Master that was cloned by Sidious.
Oh, I should point something
Or
out.
the Far Point. Or Farscape project.
Yes, now I'm sorry to put a downer on all this. However, one of the new cast members for Ashoka is very well known in Doctor Who fandom for being a sex pest where cosplayers are concerned. I'm not going to mention names, but Doctor Who fandom jumped on him from a very great height very quickly. And now he's been cast in the latest Star Wars thing. I don't think anybody checked.
Well, I know Mary Elizabeth Winstead is playing a Twi'lek pilot from Rebels in it.
Okay. Is she a sex pest?
is.
Don't think so.
No,
I
but she's
hope not.
pretty awesome. She's actually
Really good actor.
I don't know if they're married, but they're definitely together. She's with Ewan McGregor right now,
Oh.
and they've had a kid.
Is it green? And
No,
almost
no,
Muppet
it's about
like.
20 years age difference, and yeah.
Sorry. Spanky, did you listen to Big Finish this week?
I did not finish the Big Finish. There were so many of the Big Finish this week.
There was only the Iris Wild Time thing. There was only the Iris Wild Time thing.
Yeah, but
Yes,
it's
and there were
long.
Like 93 or 96.
You see, I wouldn't know
vignettes
about
in
this.
there.
So I'm going to turn around to you both now. And from what you heard of it, did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
She's mad as a box of cats. The entire thing is
great.
mad as a box of cats.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. That's one problem with it, right? These vignettes are so... Because they're stream of consciousness and what's her name? God, the actress that played Jo, Katie Manning, does a really good job of narrating it.
It's
But-
a slightly different format then. Okay. To what we
they
usually
come in
get.
at such different angles that they seem disconnected, even though at the first third anyway that I was listening to is all about the cosmic ring pull or pull ring or whatever that leads to the obverse, right?
The obverse. Interesting.
Yes, and so there were so many points of view. I think the panda, the sentient
Teddy
vending
bear.
machine, and so on, right? And many more
Right.
characters. There's so many characters, so many stories that they're trying to tell from each different character's point of view, as they try and weave this sort of narrative together. That it really was like you got a tiny piece of the overall narrative together. The story moved along a little bit that way, but it was mostly these sort of individual vignettes that you had to really focus on to get everything from.
It almost felt, and I understood what they were doing, but it almost felt like when you accidentally listen to a Big Finish on shuffle.
Ha!
Yes, exactly. It was like a Big Finish on shuffle.
Done that before.
Excellent.
And not
Yeah,
realised. I
yeah,
think it was
right.
black and white, which were two discs telling the same story. Oh, fucking hell.
Well, you go. Am I stupid or did I miss something?
Yeah.
But this
Right,
one's.
yeah, I had to check a couple times. Did I shuffle this or something? What the hell?
But it's
I'll tell Paul you said that.
It's interesting and I'm enjoying it, but it is an audiobook, so it's just her.
Right. You see, I thought it was going to
all an
be
audiobook,
like
right.
previous
It's all good.
Irish Wild Time stuff, a full cast play.
No, it's an audiobook with her doing all the.
I'm
and
terribly
it-
sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm enjoying it. I will probably finish it.
Doing a good
I'm
job.
just
she's
only
doing
a
all
third.
the
Well,
of the story.
that's a recommendation there. I should have, because I wasn't expecting to say so much about it. I should have waited until the actual proper part in the show. But I thought, well, we'll probably just say, yeah, we listened to it or didn't listen to it, and that would be it. But no, there we go. You got a thumbs up. If you like confusion, but it's Paul, so what do you expect?
So we're doing random play on tonight's episode.
Yes. Next week's Big Finish will be the Fifth Doctor, Nyssa and Tegan. So, that should be a little bit blander for you. Right then. Yeah, I suppose so.
I have my little notes here.
She's got notes. I think that's so
My
sweet.
little notes.
She's a highly prepared
I'm professional.
announcer.
What the fuck are you doing on this show?
I had notes, but I don't know what I did with them.
Seriously. And now, from the worlds of BBC Television's Doctor Who, well, you already worked it out for yourselves. Okay, screwed that up, didn't you? Yes, I wish I still had access to my MIDI sound fonts. Oh well. Yes. So, what are we looking at? Oh yeah,
Dragonfire.
yeah. A seventh Doctor. There was no point in me doing this now. He's just told them what it was all about. I like to make them guess.
No, you
I
usually
start
get
off
the
with a
synapse of a seventh Doctor that, as we know it, has landed on this planet along with Mel and is going off to do an adventure, and all of a sudden runs into Sabalon Glitz.
Once again, who shows up so often in the series? I'm
He
thinking he
does.
should be like a companion, right? Like,
Yeah, he's almost a
he's
pseudo
almost a
companion.
companion.
He is the prototype of Captain Jack.
Ooh,
Oh.
nice.
Maybe, yeah, maybe Sabalon Glitz might be a prototype.
He was only in 3
Captain
stories.
Jack.
And then adventure ensues and they get Ace.
Trial of
Haste.
the Time Lords, which covered an entire
He's-
season, so
Haste.
it's like
Dorothy.
you can't say only 3 stories because that was like,
Hang on, he's off.
yeah, and we got Ace. That was cool.
Yeah.
But
So
every
it's
companion needs a
Dragonfire.
Mad Bomber. Every Time Lord needs a Mad Bomber companion, right?
Exactly.
Anyway, where was I? The thing is, my Time Lord, I was the Mad Bomber.
No, your beard's not long enough.
I used to have a beard years ago and years ago, back when I was a little boy. Anyway,
See, I can only go partial Unabomber. Not full
okay, don't know what the Unabomber looks like. I have heard of the Unabomber. Bob.
You don't know what the Unabomber looks like? Oh, you have to.
I've heard. I heard it.
Uh-huh.
I remember the news bulletins. I think, possibly. Was it the 90s?
80s, 90s, yeah.
Oh, maybe not then.
90s.
Anyway, I have heard the phrase since. Right, so it's Dragonfire. There's a reason we're doing this.
Is it because you play a dragon
No.
In 2 games now.
in 2 games?
No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's just you said you wanted another sort of arc thing, so that's what we're doing. You've got 3 Sylvester McCoy stories in a row, possibly 4. But I guarantee you'll like them. Well, you might not like next week's. So, yeah, Ace has turned up. How does she compare to Mel in this story?
I actually really like the part because very quickly when they meet up with Glitz and they're like, "Oh, hey, Glitz," right? And then they realize what Glitz has done, which is sold his crew into slavery.
Hey, we're putrefying Glitz.
They're
For
kind
pennies on
of
the pound.
fine with him running scams on people. They're like, "Oh, Glitz," but the slavery thing seems to be where they draw the line.
Yeah.
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 And then the Doctor and Mel are like, sitting at another table and not paying attention to him. And but anyway, very quickly the Doctor and Glitz get involved in this thing, and Ace wants to go find the treasure with the map. And there seems to be some sort of familiarity between Ace and Glitz. Like he has a nickname for
Would
her.
you-
Obviously, they kind of
Would you like to know what that familiarity is?
sure.
It's not that pleasant. Ace gave him her virginity on the floor of the Nosferatu.
Why?
I don't
What?
Really?
know.
She's like
This is
Wait,
the
wait,
new.
wait.
This is the new adventures.
16.
This is the new adventures. Calm down. This is the new
Oh, well, yeah.
adventures.
That makes sense for the
No.
new adventures.
No. What?
She's
that's just
16.
WTF.
She's
in
16.
Giant letters.
Sorry, but
If
that's
there's a
new adventures.
glaring banner for jailbait, this is it.
It should be on Ace, right? Like, what the hell? No.
Yeah,
What?
God.
Ooh,
No.
I think that was the other Paul who wrote that. I will mention that to him up at the New Adventures event up at Derby in May.
So
When did that get inserted into the storyline?
It was in one of the books, New Adventures.
New Adventures, okay.
Okay, so it
Oh,
doesn't
don't
count.
go
Okay.
shopping for them because you'll break the bank.
Blitz is all like, girls can't do stuff.
Yeah, right.
Despite all evidence to the contrary. So Mel and Ace end up teaming up for a vast majority of the story. And despite the obvious set limitations and therefore the geography of the planet being extremely confusing, they are sort of wandering around, they're exploring, they're helping each other. And I like them as a duo because Mel really gets to be slightly mentor-ish. She gets to kind of say, especially when they're in her room and she's like, "Do you ever do the washing?" Like you get to see Mel as an adult.
Just
which
sit
you
on that
don't-
like a normal person, yeah.
Yeah. And then Ace
like,
as
okay.
a sulky teenager.
First time
Where
anybody's
she's
ever called Mel
bored.
normal.
And well, I have a lot of time for Mel. I just think she's written badly.
Oh, she's done superbly in Big Finish,
Yeah.
to be fair.
And the actress is great.
Finish redeems a whole lot of things.
Oh, God,
that
yes.
were
When you
done
can't see the
crappily.
It
effects.
does redeem
On
a lot
broadcast.
of things Doctor Who kind of pooched on.
Colin
Yeah.
Baker, Bonnie Langford, they've done great.
Yes.
They've done brilliantly.
Yes.
And it's thanks to them that Perry's character has really come forward. Yeah. It's
So
there's some good stuff.
I like the team up of Mel and Ace, and I think sometimes the characterization of Ace doesn't.
Grates
it
a little,
seems
doesn't
like it seems like the people writing her had never met a teenage girl.
If I may,
Yes,
this is
yeah.
the perfect point for me to come in and come out with this hoary old chestnut. Ian Briggs, the writer, actually based it on some teenage girls he knew, and I think they must have been friends of his daughter, and so he just based them on there. And I don't think he got it. If that's what kids were like in the 80s.
No,
Certainly not my time.
no. That's not what 16-year-olds at any age were like.
Anyway,
No.
Linda, that's a great answer. It's not the answer I was looking for, but carry on.
Well, what I think is that we often see the companion and the doctor, and then a companion kind of being kidnapped or, pulled away from the doctor in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And here they're left alone, which happens fairly frequently with Ace. Like, Ace, stay here. It's too dangerous. And then she gets involved in stuff.
I would just wish once, just once, Ace would have had they'd have had the courage to have Ace going, bollocks. I really do.
But I
would've
like
been
that
good.
she's adventurous. She doesn't need the doctor to go have her own adventures. The doctor's a bonus, but she's quite happy to say, "Hey, Mel, come on, let's ignore them and let's go do the thing we were going to do anyway."
Hey, Mel, I have homemade pipe bombs. Let's go have some fun.
Let's go do stuff. Yeah.
And
right.
okay,
You have that
how
great
do the
moment.
two of them compare?
How do they compare?
Yes.
Well, I think by putting them side by side, you get Mel looks older, Ace looks younger.
Yeah.
And behavior-wise, so you get the age difference, even though it's not always obvious because often Ace is not particularly written, and Mel is written young anyway. I think Mel screams, Ace doesn't.
In the correct pitch for the theme tune. They asked her. Sorry, you froze there for a second a little bit. I'm thinking, you're just like that, and I'm thinking, has she turned into Pertwee? It's...
No, I have the right number of fingers.
I'm not saying a word. I'm pretty sure I know what happened there. I think actually it's an optical illusion. It's actually the frill of his shirt, but I do very much get your point.
I think that yes, you were saying in the Mel screams in the perfect key.
Whatever.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that we see is Ace is almost she's looking for kind of not a parental figure because she'd reject a parental figure, but
I mean, who would name their kid Dorothy after all?
You'll meet her. Anyway, carry on.
But she is in that case they got a 16-year-old or almost 17, sort of right.
She's looking for a family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's looking for a
looking
family.
for
But
a
on her
place
own
to belong.
terms.
Yes.
That's the thing with Ace. It has to be on her own terms. It's create your own context.
They did Mel a big disservice with all the screaming.
Well, that's the point
earlier
I was
in the
trying to say.
season.
Their characters are so different to each other. So
Yeah.
having them side by
Yeah.
side really contrasts and shows Mel to actually be a fairly weak character compared to what they're planning to do with Ace. Now, like you
Yeah,
say,
we should do time
Mel
with
has
Annie next,
been
just so you can
big
see-
finished.
Yeah, because
So
4 episodes of Mel doing nothing but staying there screaming. Basically, the whole 4 episodes or whatever, she just screams.
I think we've done Time in the
It's
Randy
horrifying.
before.
I know. Yeah.
yes, we have. I went through a phase of trying to get the bad ones out of the way, so that was it. They were done.
Well, in many
Like
ways,
pulling off a sticky
in that
plaster,
way,
you know.
Mel is an old-fashioned companion,
It's very much so. Dig the new breed,
Yeah.
Kind of,
you
yeah.
know.
where she's the one who reacts to tell us how scary the monster is. She's the one who asks the doctor what's going on. She's the one who gets kidnapped and trapped, and we see a reversal of that here with Ace when she's being tempted by, Captain Ice Planet or whatever. And
Can
he's
I
like,
just
"Oh."
ask, what did you make of that scene with Kane?
Take my shilling.
Yeah.
I just think Kane is the worst villain in the history of villains.
Because
Simply
he forgot
because-
his timing.
He spent 3,000 years plotting and planning his revenge on his home planet, and never once did he think to check in on it to see if it's still there.
To be fair, Svartos, the ship, wasn't actually powered up until he got the crystal.
To be fair, he ran a trading post with people that came in and out throughout the sector, and all he had to do was go, "Hey, have you heard about this place? What can you tell me about it? Oh, hey, it's gone. Sorry, dude. Disappeared 2,000 years ago."
His face crumbled with embarrassment. It was a very good effect.
It was
was?
a terrifying effect.
It was the
There were
same
words
effect
said.
from Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I knew he'd say that. Don't worry,
But
it's
it's a-
been
Because
said
it
many
is
times
the same
before.
effect from Indiana
Melting
Jones.
claymation for the win, right?
No, not claymation. That was a
Not
latex
claymation, but it looks
latex
like
head, and they just
it's,
used a blowtorch on it.
gelatin.
Yeah, and they used a blowtorch on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
For as
Yeah.
rackety as the rest of, and I don't blame them, they probably had 2.5 pounds to do the whole show. I mean, I understand they were working at a
Alright.
stupid, ridiculous budget.
Total of their budget was like $5, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for as rackety as the rest of the show looks, and then you get that scene, which clearly they spent a lot of time and energy and effort, and it's horrifying. It doesn't. It's a real jar.
I think that
With
on
the
the
rest of it.
whole, the effects work is actually pretty good. It's let down by the dragon. I mean, obviously that entire scene was ripped off from Aliens. There's no two
That
ways
was no
about
dragon.
it. You know what I mean. But the effects work. The model of Svartos itself with Iceworld on top, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And
Okay.
Dominic Glynn had. You got to remember what we were used to back then.
If I had
Dominic
a
Glynn,
planetoid with a colony that freaking big on one side of the planet, that entire planet would be thrown off gravitationally.
he's not wrong. To be fair, however, what wonderful model work, not including, but helped with by Dominic Glynn's very first not his very first outing, I do apologise. Dominic Glynn's music, which is lovely. Do 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 do. No. Why did I forget the Trial of a Time Lord when I was thinking about Dominic?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Shame on you.
Yes,
I agree.
frankly.
I agree
could
with you
you?
that Kane's plan doesn't make a lick of sense.
He's a loony.
I mean, Kane is a horrifying villain.
Oh yeah.
Except for that mom who goes in search, or who's kind of a brat anyway, who goes in search of her kid, who's there to be a plot moppet.
I have no bloody idea at all.
Basically, right. With the little kid that keeps running around, right?
a dragon.
She's cute. I don't have a problem with her, but she doesn't serve any purpose.
No, there's no
almost
purpose there
feels
at all.
Like, hey, can you put my kid in the story?
Cryogenics to sleep.
Well, I
So-
think they were trying like some kind of comedy equivalent of the red coat in Schindler's List, right? Like, it doesn't work. You know
Can
what
you
I'm
get
saying?
a
No,
Comedy
it's the little
equivalent?
girl in Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Big monster meets the little girl.
Yes.
But
Only
they
this
never
time he
actually
didn't
meet,
throw
do
her
they?
into the
Maybe,
lake.
yeah, with the,
fair,
that's a
fair.
good call.
Fair.
That's a good call. But
It was still
except for her
crap.
mother, who went looking for her, everyone else in that trading post is dead.
Yep.
Yep.
mm-hmm,
All on the Nosferatu.
Kane.
mm-hmm.
The only time Sablon Glitz actually acts well.
Uh,
I'm sorry.
so-
Tony Selby is a great comedy actor, but I don't rate him as a drama actor that much.
so they've murdered everybody.
Yep.
So Kane is a mass murderer, which we kind of knew. I mean, if they were
Several
after
times
him,
over, apparently.
apparently. And I do like the betrayal of his underlings. That's nice. Where she thinks that she's in a position, and I don't remember her name, and it doesn't really matter. She's dead
Balaz.
pretty quickly. That's her. Where she says like, "Hey, she thinks she's in a position to ask for something because she served him loyally, and she wants the Nosferatu." And he says, "Why do you think you get anything? I can get rid of you whenever. How dare you?" And then deliberately says, "Blow it up."
Do you know who played Balaz?
Who?
Well, she didn't stay still. She took a jump to the left, then a step to the right. It's
Ah,
Patricia
And
Quinn.
then put her hands on her hips.
Yep, it's Patricia Quinn from Rocky Horror.
Nice.
it's a good
I
performance.
throw these little things in. Oh yeah,
She's an
they were
interesting character.
putrefying, Glitz. I love that line.
It also shows that the villain, he likes them young.
Mm-hmm.
He picked her up at 16
16
too.
too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little creepy, guys. A little creepy.
A lot creepy.
Yeah.
Feeling
And
a
then
bit
he has
creepy
that
show.
whole thing with his ice statue of his ex-partner.
Yeah, what the...
Now, I'm
that
sorry,
doesn't
but
make
there-
any sense either.
There is the perfect example of not thinking things through. Great, wonderful, beautiful partner, eye statue. I'm trying not to cough.
Too late.
Failed.
Yeah, that Roland
Which
Doctor
was
Who
done
a far
by-
cry from Magenta. I'll give you that.
The
I didn't make that connection. That's good.
hang on, where am I? Oh yeah,
The
so
ice
they use
statue.
a
Statue.
blind sculptor to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So how does he know what she looked like if he's blind? Unless Kane had the corpse so he could feel it, you know. And then, this is Kane not thinking his way through this. He kills the sculptor, then the ice melts.
Yeah.
Didn't think it through. No long-term planning. Strangely
He
enough,
does not-
considering his downfall.
Oh, he had lots of long-term planning. 3,000 years on one plot,
Yep. Yeah, you're quite
but
right.
he fucked it up.
So he's all like, "Oh, I can't get to the dragon because the dragon's got heat. So I have to do like his whole little make Glitz win the thing in a rigged game. Like that's clever because that plays into Glitz's thing. But really, he couldn't just get Bob to go get the monster. Bob, you know, some guy. He's
I
Actually,
have an
Bob
army
is the
of
monster.
mercenaries that will obey my every command, yet I'm going to try to trick these newcomers on my station to go get the one thing I've been needing for 3,000 years.
Hang on.
Yes.
I'm just trying to remember something. Didn't he overhear something when they finally realised about where the crystal was? And that's how he knew. That the
No.
crystal was in the dragon. He knew the dragon guarded the crystal, but didn't know how. Essentially, the dragon was the crystal.
Right.
And I think he overhears that because he's got a bug in the map.
No, he overheard where the crystal was
So-
and popped out of the dragon's head.
Exactly.
he-
So then he knew. Then he could go for it.
but he could have sent anybody after the dragon at any time in the last 3,000 years. And he has this infinite supply of disposable flunkies.
Why the
He could have
hell?
sent 60 of them
Why,
until he found the one he wanted.
why am I trying to defend him?
I don't know.
No, neither do I. It's been a
He's
very
not a good
strange show.
planner.
A very strange show.
I mean, he's creepy and he's dangerous.
Edward Peel, yes. Former Julia Bravo.
But he's not. The character's not good at planning.
No.
No, he's not. And I've got to mention it. It's obligatory. The literal cliffhanger at the end of part 1.
Yes.
Everyone all right with that? Or is it a case of, what the fuck?
Oh, it's fine. They introduced ice cliffs. The doctor sooner or later was going to fall down one.
Well,
To
apparently,
be fair, in comparison to the rest of the show, this was a minor train wreck.
Yeah. No, they had that burn.
You know, you got the little bumper to bumper
cliff
action watching the giant
rescue.
tractor trailer getting the top ripped off it from going under the bridge.
sorry, what are you talking about?
There's so many
Dragonfire,
other-
all that scene.
There are so many bigger problems with this one
I got you.
that had a little literal cliffhanger.
I think one of the core problems I had it isn't really with the plot. It's with the geography of the planet, or actually the geography of the city. Because, and again, it could be a problem with sets and stuff. But you know, they had like movable sets and things in the first the first Romana one that we watched.
Rebus Operation.
Thank you. They moved sets around, and I had no problem figuring out where everybody was. But here they seem to go deep into these caves. I get that that's a long way to go and it's very difficult. And then they get back almost immediately. And then they get back into the caves almost immediately. Everything is... It takes too long to... Or it's a long journey to get there at the beginning. And it's dangerous and everything else. And that's fine. But after that, everything's like this. And where is everything in relation to
I'm
everything else?
guessing the Nosferatu was made of dwarf star alloy. The thing about this story is it's part of season 24. Season 24 is not, I don't think it's anybody's favourite, to be honest. That's the one with Time and the
Well, that
Rani.
season started the ugly logo. So.
Yeah, the ugly logo.
Yeah.
That's the one you're worthy of, Spanky.
Thank you.
That's all right.
Appreciate it.
That's okay. And this was the last story done. New script editor trying to stamp his mark. So 3 new writers on that season. The first story was Pip and Jane Baker from before, and that was a huge struggle of willpower over that story between the new script editor and old hand writers. But season 24 is almost like Cartmel trying to flex his muscles and see what's doable, what's not doable. Season 25, which we will be coming to, but using a really poor example, starts to show his vision for Doctor Who. You know, he's finally had a chance to sit down and plan a whole season rather than just coming in on the shirt tails of somebody else. Dragonfire is the last of those, and next year they do it, and then the following year they capitalise on it, and it's brilliant all the way through. It's one of Dave's. In fact, I think it's Dave's favourite story, Ghostlight.
It's one of his favorites, yeah.
He loved McCoy. Hello. I has an area of darkness.
Oh, a void critter.
Yeah. You've been attacking the block tonight. Dear me. Oh, he's happy. My cats are being very, very cute at the moment.
Aww.
Lots of roly-polying on the floor together. And I can't sit down on the couch without having the dog at one side of me and 2 cats on my lap. They wait. There's the ass for you. They wait. Tick follows tock. Yeah, actually, that's a good name for cats, wouldn't it? Tick and tock.
Tick and talk. Yeah.
Tick and talk.
Quite like that. Anyway, hello. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, so this is not the Cartmel era firing on full cylinders yet. This is them finding out what they can do and what they can't do. And you will see, as we go along, you will see the show improve in huge steps from one year to the next. And we are going there. Because the arc I want you to follow is Ace. Follow her story from the moment that the tornado hit Dorothy in the... No, hang on a second. The time storm hit Ace. No place like home. It's a twister. Brilliant special effect in that film. How the fuck they did that special effect all those years ago. Amazing tornadic effect. Anyway, yeah, you've been suffering from tornadoes this year. It's been a bad tornado season so
I
far.
wouldn't say I've been suffering from them.
Well, you haven't, but America, I mean, in general.
I wouldn't say we've been suffering from them.
It's the time of year.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, but it's been a
Yeah.
bad
Tuesday.
one. It's been a bad one. I've been watching the live feeds because I used to watch the recordings of local weather stations doing their live emergency broadcasts. And quite frankly, those guys are heroes. They'd be on air for hours and hours and hours, constantly reminding you, pointing out all the radar stuff, explaining it to you, so you could learn as you watched it, which is what I did. But now, some of the chasers, the more organised chasers, they've got... they stream onto YouTube directly. And as a result, they've got somebody at base camp with all the radar and everything else like that. So whenever the stream goes a bit iffy or whatever, the guy at base camp comes in, shows you the radar, explains it all, and like I say, the past couple of weeks have been shit for you guys, and I feel so sorry. I mean, I love tornadoes, but they scare the living shite out of me.
I've been through my share of hurricanes, and that's
Hurricanes are fun. Tornadoes are not.
the local news being on for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and that's what you do. You watch, you turn on the local news, and you just leave it on all day.
Or get yourself an emergency radio. If there's an alert in your area, it will broadcast it to you. Sorry, I'm just doing a general
if
public
there's an alert
information
in my
thing.
area, I turn off the alarm and
I'm
roll
going
over
to sleep.
and go back to sleep.
They go off on the phones too.
It's interesting. We were supposed to have an emergency text. They're testing out the emergency text system over here. We've not had it before. They were supposed to test it out. I think it was today, and I haven't seen anything, so maybe it was a different day. I don't know. I mean, you don't really want to say there's an emergency on Easter Sunday. It's zombie outbreak. But,
I
Yeah,
remember
versus-
Andrew. Andrew came through when I was 11, almost 12, and the
Hurricane Andrew
that-
for viewers.
Hurricane Andrew. Sorry, yes, not some random guy.
Guy called Andrew just turned up.
Prince Andrew.
No,
in Florida,
definitely
we
not Prince Andrew, especially not the age she was.
Um,
This is a really creepy, bloody show tonight.
Yep.
in Florida, we don't have to preface the big ones with the word hurricane.
No,
You
quite
just
right
say,
too.
like Ian, and they go, "Oh, okay, Ian."
They've started
Andrew,
naming storms
okay.
over here, and our names are pretty pathetic. Storm Ethel, Storm Clive. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Sorry, but at some point you need a storm that just pops up. You need to call it Ethelred the Unready.
I'll suggest that to the Met Office, because we're like that, me and the Met Office.
How about
They watch the show.
Stormageddon, the Dark Lord of all?
Oh, no. We avoid that.
Don't give them ideas.
It's too cliche, unfortunately. But I know people I know people who've called their babies Stormageddon, and it's...
It's a little, it's calling your baby that. It's a little.
At what point do you start
Come up
using
with
his
something
name
original.
rather than... So, on the whole, Dragonfire, where are our thumbs at the moment? Are they up?
On
Are they
the whole.
down? Are they... Spanky's doing a little bit's doing Brian's more than so
It's Twitter. It's twitching. It's twitching.
I think there's certainly redeemable, interesting things going on in it, and there's certainly, as you say, it's the beginning of Ace, and Ace is an interesting character.
yes.
It's sort of the beginning of this meddling doctor, because he doesn't want to kill the dragon, and he just wants to have an adventure and find interesting things.
Well, that's how he starts out, and then he meets Ace, and after that, all bets are off. But we will find out why in weeks to come. So, do you want to know what you're doing next week? Come on, who can tell me which
Sure.
one you're doing next week?
Fenric.
Nope.
Is it
Anyone
the
else?
one with the cat people?
No, it's not survival.
Okay. Is it the one where she goes back to Earth and meets her so-called friends and realizes
Survival?
she's on?
No.
Okay.
You're running out of stories,
I'm
to be
running out of-
fair.
It's not Happiness Patrol, is it?
No.
Oh, thank God. Go ahead. Do whatever you want.
All right, then. To be fair, we could miss this, but we're not going to. Look out for the chess set. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry. Next week we're doing Silver Nemesis. If you'd like to send cards of condolence, I'd be very grateful. It might cheer us up.
If If you'd like to commiserate with the cast.
If you would like to decide how Auntie's character dies in the RPG, let's do this.
Oh, I got this thing, like I say, if you set up a Patreon, I'll allow people to decide what sort of character I have to play, and I've got to try and impersonate them. I've got to work on my Sean Connery, because that is so creaky and old. Oh, dear me, I need to work on that again. But dragons talk like Sean Connery. All dragons talk like Sean Connery.
Unfortunately, your dragon sounded like Sean Shawne Connery.
Yeah, that's fair. I did say splendid, which pleased Jess, which was quite good. Talking of Joe, she's doing some wonderful artwork. Her artwork's coming along leaps and bounds.
Beautiful.
Absolutely
beautiful.
amazing.
She did a gorgeous picture of Rosie a few months ago as well for
beautiful.
me.
Do you want to be immortalised in paint?
Season 25, episode 8. Okay.
No, he doesn't. It'd just be black. Black! Black! My eyes are pies! Sorry. Oh, you get it! Now, over in America, it was called Scorchio. Over here, it was called The Fast Show. That was Johnny Nice Painter, who was lovely.
That's okay, I just heard a bass line when you said that is all. Boom, 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 boom. Sorry.
My brother plays bass in his band.
I thought you were going to say my brother plays bass in his sleep.
No.
Everybody plays bass in their sleep.
Apparently,
he has
yes.
a local
Yes, they do.
touring band, and they go on tour occasionally.
Bass players, bands would be useless without them, but my God, they kept the short end of the stick.
Apparently, I've never been to his show, because they're after my bedtime, frankly. But
Not
but
that
apparently-
old!
I'm very old, and I get up at 5 in the morning. But he plays with his back to the audience.
I can understand that.
Pete Best.
If he doesn't see them, he doesn't get the pressure, or at least the pressure's less. That's a possible reason.
It's also possible that he just doesn't like.
Yeah, so
them
we
very
salute
much.
bass players.
He just doesn't like
Now
you,
fuck
right?
off.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to. Oh, yes, I'm going to be redoing the Staggering Stories theme tune.
Ooh.
Congratulations. Do they know about it?
Yes.
you
I
sure?
told Adam today. Because I did the first one, and then I did the second one, which I changed up and made it more like the actual TV show. This one I might have some fun with instead.
What are they up to now?
I've asked. I never asked, to be perfectly honest with you. I know they've just been to Edinburgh. After that, it's
No.
Warrior.
I mean, like,
I know.
It's gotta be
I'm having fun.
15 years or something.
It's about 200 and some odd. Hang on a second, I can get that. Where are we? Let's find out. Stag Stores. Where are you, Stag Stores? I haven't actually got it bookmarked anymore. Well, I have, but
I mean, sort of in the world of podcasting, we're all quite ancient.
we were one of the first. And when I say we, I mean Staggering Stories, because
Yes.
I was... Oh, God, do you really want to know? 416.
Yeah.
You can't see anything. I've never podcasted before.
Like
This
I
is my
say,
podcast
I mean, they're not
period when I
wholly a
started
Doctor.
doing
This, they're not wholly Doctor Who, but we're technically not wholly Doctor Who either. But we're based on Doctor Who. But the whole point about this is just to give us an excuse to sit in the same room and chat. That's all it is. That's why there's no heavy pressure on people, I suppose. That's the best way of putting it. Yeah, so they're on 416. I have beaten them. However, I don't know how many commentaries they've done.
Mm-hmm.
But I had 2 runs on the WhoCast as well. As
Yes.
the Blade, and then the Viddy Brog, and then 157 of these. Jesus Christ. It's all right. My cousin got in touch tonight and told me she was seeing the grandkids. And I went, grandkids? Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. My little bitty niece, who turns 15 in June.
Ouch.
Keep her away
Yeah.
from Prince Andrew
Well,
for
for
another
God's
month
sakes,
or so.
keep her away from the ice guy.
Ice
Click.
Guy It wouldn't stand a chance.
Well, for God's sakes, then Glitz. Keep her away from him.
She would just like take a look at him, and he would just turn himself into a puddle. She's quite the character.
Right, we better move on.
Luckily, she uses her power for good.
It's because she's 15. Give her a
Exactly.
year.
Wait till she gets an evil hand. Wait till she gets an evil robot hand. We're going to move on. 55 minutes in. We're not doing too badly. Last night was a bit of a killer for me. I'm glad you finished it where you did. I ended up aching rather badly. Not your fault.
I'm trying to figure out why you're aching from sitting down in RP.
Yeah, Adam asked exactly the same thing, but you've got to understand, my body just aches because it does. That's just my life.
I'm scritching my dog.
Life is pain.
Just going all
Puppy
sorts of
doing?
nuts.
Oh, puppy
What's the
being
dog
old.
doing?
He's
Don't go into as much detail as you went last night. Thank you very much. This is the show rather than... Is
There he
Acey
is.
boy. Doggy, Ace. Can't hear me.
you can't hear you. I talk to him all the time. He's a great
He's deaf.
great keeper of secrets.
Yeah, I talk to mine all the time. The
Don't
trouble
start
is, I don't stop when I leave them. I carry on talking. I am the mad cat woman who sits over the shops
My
outside
dog
the
is
cafe
deaf.
talking to herself.
I talk to him often.
Fair enough. I treat my animals like children. So, and I don't mean I dress them up or any shit like that, but that's how they feel to me. You know? My furry companions.
And then you dress him up like that.
Yeah. Well, I dress myself up like that, to be honest. Oh, should I cut that down? There's a Doctor Who convention. There is a Doctor Who convention next weekend in Crawley. It's the Doctor Who Appreciation Society are doing it. It's a 2-day event called The Capital. Look at DWAS online for details. I don't know if there are any tickets left. So, hell of a lineup. Very good lineup. I will stick my head in at least one day just to say hello. Because I can't afford to actually pay for the convention. I'm actually surprised. I'll be interested to see how many people are there, to see if the cost of living crisis has changed anything. But as a result, I don't actually go into the convention. I hang around in the foyer and the cafe area and whatever and just chat to friends, which is what I do anyway at a convention. So, you know, I mean, we've got in May, we've got the New Adventures, and BBC 8th Doctor Books convention up at Derby at the Quad. I think I've only got one panel, but Steve has not told me anything, which is a slight problem. Because all that was 30 years ago, and I badly need to know who I'm interviewing so that I can bone up on it. Which
The upside
doesn't just
is
mean reading New Adventures, it means digging out A5 fanzines to get the dirt.
Well, the upside is they probably don't remember that much either. It was 30 years ago, and they've done a bunch of other stuff since
I
then.
probably remember more about some of their books than they do, quite frankly.
Probably.
Because I've read them and reread them so many times. So that's May. I'll say next weekend, the DWAS convention in Crawley. Please come along and say hello. Buy me a cup of hot chocolate. We will go outside and I will smoke cigarettes and I shall impart cod philosophy to you. That's become my thing
That's a
now.
threat, by the
Apparently,
way.
I give out cod philosophy. I had no idea
Better
I
than
was doing
flounder philosophy?
that. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Just don't make a halibut.
Oh!
That caused physical pain.
Yep. Yep. Hey, do you remember you were once
Good
the
one.
longest running co-host on here? That's come to an end. That pun just...
God. Thank God. Put me out of my misery. Kill me. End it all now, Lord.
Yeah, dear. Cut to Patrick Troughton being skewed by the church thing. Right. Moving on. Edge of Darkness. Did you manage to get to see that, sweetheart? That's you, Spanky.
Which sweetheart? Oh, okay.
All right, I'm going to have to come up with separate
Yes,
patronising
I
names
did.
for each of you.
The plot thickens. Some more.
The thick
Even.
plottons. Okay, so we're going to go through...
Plottons
Thick plottins,
thickens?
right?
what
As
happens?
he gets introduced to more intelligence type spy characters, and his boss is pushing him to convict this one guy, and you get to see his interrogation method up close in the hospital, where he's holding hands and kissing a murderer and doing lovely things like that. That was very interesting. And what else was it? Kind of does explain something about the dildo scene. Not enough, but does explain a little bit.
You're hanging on
Apparently
that,
has
aren't
no
you?
personal boundaries. Yeah, I'm still hung up on that. Sorry, I don't.
Yeah,
care
all right,
how
move
much
on.
you love your daughter, how much you love her. You don't kiss anything that's been inside her. Yuck. Okay, move on.
Yes, please.
He gets hooked up with these spies.
What are you
not
eating?
Joe Don Baker, but who eating what?
Peeps.
He's eating Peeps.
It's Easter.
There you go.
This
These
is
are
an-
vanilla flavored ones.
This is
Easter
another
candy Peeps.
okay, this is another American thing. I have got to get a Brit on this show. I have got to somehow.
Peeps.
You're outnumbered.
I know,
Resistance
3 to
is
1.
Futile.
You're outnumbered. 3-1.
Futile.
Futile.
Well, see. Pretty soon
Resistance
there'll be
is
revolution,
useless.
and we'll make it all about American sci-fi, and you'll just be like, no. Hilarious.
Oh, I'll sack you all then.
I have a whole thing on YouTube ready for.
Do you?
American
Do you
Sci-Fi. Oh,
indeed?
yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Oh,
When
yeah.
are you starting your own show?
Every other Saturday at 3 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern, or UK, or whatever the fuck time it is.
On DaxoGaming.com. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we move the plot along. They've tracked down who they think killed Emma, Craven's daughter. And however, the bust goes wrong, and the guy somehow flows himself off a 6th floor. He does a Putin's arrival
Somehow.
thing.
Gets pitched out of a window. He gets defenestrated.
Yes.
Either voluntarily or most likely involuntarily. Yes.
Yeah, basically he upset Putin. And so that leads to the scene with Craven you were talking about, because he's ex-IRA and Craven interrogated him in Ireland, and it got the interrogation got very personal and emotional. However, he's not working alone. There is somebody else out there, and we do see him briefly, sitting in the trees overlooking Craven's house.
And that's
Another
why Craven
IRA
has security
nutter.
pulled, because he wants the guy to
Exactly.
make a move on him, right?
Exactly. And we'll see what happens, I think, next week about that. In the meantime, you got the other side of the
There was a
plot.
lot going on, though. All the introduction of other intelligence agencies, other intelligence assets, plus the woman that talks to Craven,
Right,
who
hang
Joe
on.
Don Baker kind of introduces him to.
Hang on. There's no other, apart from Clem, who's Sam Wanamaker, there are no other spy agencies at the moment.
The two guys who approach him,
Pendleton and
the brown-faced guy and the guy with the
yeah,
mustache. the little mustache.
Pendleton
Yeah.
and Harcourt. But we've seen
Pendleton
we've seen
and the other guy,
Pendleton since episode 1, and we saw
Yes.
Harcourt last week. So
Mhm.
they're not new.
But you get the woman, and she's
Clem,
some
on the
kind
other
of
hand,
intelligence thing.
Don't use her. Give her your
But they're
diners
the ones
card.
that approach him about, let us give you some intel, and you go testify against this guy,
Mm-hmm.
because he's the one that really killed your daughter. And then you get that locked eye thing across the
Which was so
floor that-
important, because until that moment, they weren't 100% certain. And then when IFF's boss, because there's a parliamentary committee deciding whether an American can buy Northmore nuclear processing plant. So there's a big hoo-ha about that. What they don't know is that it might be processing spent fuel into weapons grade. Anyway,
maybe processing
Craven
all your plutonium or
basically
uranium, whatever, into weapons
Harcourt,
grade.
Harcourt and Pendleton arrange for Craven to go there. They want the boss, this boss bloke Jerry, to see Craven, and they want to see if he'll show any reaction. If he doesn't have anything to do with this, he won't know who Craven is. He's got something to do with this, because he looked very shocked when Craven turned up there in the House of Commons. Jedburgh is being Jedburgh. Essentially
Well,
Spanky.
Jedburgh is an interesting character. he portrays this guy that's this sort of prototypical American. He's from Texas. He's a cowboy. He's a spy. He's like wild. He's, you know, maybe a little too obviously, possibly a little bit nuts. The Mad American.
You've not seen
kind of
anything
thing, you know.
yet. That's
Well,
all
no,
I'm saying.
it's right. I mean, you see when he gets in the car with the guy and he starts talking about golf courses, and it's like, I'm not here about that. I'm here about my golf courses, right?
That's all I care about.
Right, and you know, you can see
Did you
that
play golf, Craven?
He's tipping his hand a little heavily, but he's got more, I'm sure, to play along those
You
lines.
have no idea.
But it's Joe Don Baker, so there's always going to be something a little wacky and over the top from him. because
He's
of
your
that,
equivalent
you
to
know.
Brian Blessed, really, isn't he?
Kind of, yeah.
But I love the stuff. Everything I've seen him in, I've loved. From the Bond stuff
Oh, yeah.
to this to.
Oh, he's a good actor.
Oh,
yeah.
damn, yeah.
You know,
I
There's a lot
don't know
of
what it
fun
is
stuff
about
out.
him. You feel safe with him, but at the same time, you're
he's a
watching
good
your
old
back.
boy. That's why. He's a good old boy.
Yeah, but you're going to see
Down
him
home
do
Southern
some.
kind of guy, is your buddy and all that. Yeah.
You're going to see him do some stuff that's going to make you go, oh shit. But we wait for that. I think that's episode 6, and I'm not giving you access to any episode except episode 4 now.
So they're all out there on the internet. I could watch them.
Don't
if I
you
wanted.
dare.
It's not going
Don't
to.
you dare!
I am doing them one at
I
a time.
love doing these things and
deference
drip
to
feeding
you.
little clues to you. I can't do that with
Yes, I
Callum.
know, Mama Bird. You love giving the little things out.
I told the
Right?
new boy he shouldn't call me old girl. He should just call me old mother. You like that?
Mhm.
You shall not make fire. Yeah, actually, we haven't done an unearthly child. Brian, have we done? You and I done an unearthly child? We did.
Yeah.
We did because we did the first 3 stories, didn't we?
Yeah.
I remember. Yes, I'm sorry. Okay, so did you enjoy this episode? Do you feel it's building? Do you think it's standing still? What did you make of it?
I thought the exposure of what may be the big villain or whatever to Cross move things along really well. I like that. When he goes, okay, what is he doing here? So he does know who Cross is. There is some kind of connection.
Yep.
That gets verified for you. That's good story.
Craven, he's getting mixed up with Callan.
Right, you wouldn't know. Right, yeah, sorry, not Cross. Craven. My
But
bad.
it's a very
you wouldn't
understandable.
know-
Very
it's
understandable.
very,
This
wouldn't
particular week.
know normally in a series like that because they wouldn't give you the what is he doing here or some kind of illusion. They would just let him lock eyes and then move on. You know, but it was better storytelling.
It was
to show
because you
that
then
reaction.
realise. I mean, you saw how smug Harcourt and Pendleton were, stood next to him. It's a case of, okay, that's
Almost
confirmed.
smirking at him.
That's confirmed. We now
Standing there
know.
with Craven
Yeah.
and pointing him out, and the guy is going, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Right.
It needed to be done like that, quite frankly.
Yes,
It
that
moved their
was a
story along.
Perfect scene.
Yeah.
That moved so much forward, right? So, and then he goes to his boss and asks for a warrant to go and investigate the dump site. And I was like, yeah. And he turned in his whole little list of what he supposes is actually going on. And his boss goes, I'm going to keep this in my safe
Yep.
until you.
You're
give me
going
your
to see a doctor. I think that's what you said. Yeah, I know a good doctor. That's right, yeah. Of course, Craven must be nuts.
You're not well. That's what he says. He says, Craven, you're not well. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he'd never get a warrant. I mean, he'd get a warrant to go down.
They're maneuvering him, it looks like, into being able to remove him quickly from the investigation
Do you
or to
mean-
discredit
Oh,
him
Craven, yeah.
if they need to, because, they can say he's becoming more and more irrational. He's unhinged because of his daughter's death, yada, yada, yada. That's a very easy move for them to make.
Did you notice one interesting point? The organisation Emma was a member of, Gaia.
Gaia.
Did you hear
Don
Jedburgh?
Baker, turns out he founded.
He founded. You did hear it.
Jedburgh founded, right? Hmm.
Okay. That might end up being important.
That was-
Wait and see.
I think that might turn out to be very important. I'm waiting to see Craven confront Jedburgh about it to see what the hell.
But
He's the one
Jedburgh's
that
on the
founded
side of
it.
the
Did he
Angels, isn't he?
recruit
It's the
Craven's
CIA.
daughter or what? I'm saying, yeah. So,
Actually, I think whilst Jedburgh may have started the organisation, I don't think he had anything to do with the modern day shit. But
Probably
CIA,
not. He
you
just
never know.
kind of got the ball rolling and backed out. I
Yeah.
think is probably.
You know, we need to set up an agitating group. So go over there.
That's a big thing the CIA does, right? They,
Oh, yeah.
they put balls in motion and then they step away, and then they're constantly surprised
When it
the
doesn't
ball
work.
doesn't follow the path that they wished it did, and it just does some crazy shit, like
Ladies and
I
gentlemen,
don't know. Let's name anything: Iran, Iraq.
ladies and gentlemen,
entire
the
Middle East,
intelligence
South America.
community. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking from a
That's what I'm saying about
linguistic point of view. That's not an American pronunciation of Gia.
Gaia.
Gaia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
G-A-I-A.
the British pronunciation.
Gaia.
Mhm.
And we came
As in,
first.
like, the Earth goddess.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. That's...
British.
So... Well, yes, what I'm saying is...
There's
an
3 of
American
you.
character.
Give me this.
He's an American character, right?
Yeah.
So, if he founded it, but wanted... I've been, I could be...
Excuse me.
I'm not watching it. But if he founded it but didn't want anybody to think Americans had anything to do with it, you definitely use the British pronunciation.
You know, when I blow my nose, it doesn't mean you all have to stop. I'm just saying that, mind you.
That's
Brian
not
looks
what
like he's frozen. Yeah, either that or he's managing to hold still really, really... What do we think?
I think Frozen.
Yeah? It's hard to tell sometimes because he does that face brilliantly, to be fair.
I can't tell because my stuff freezes so much, so
Oh.
I'm like, it's me. Oh no, wait, it's you this time. Yay, it's not me. Thank God. Woo.
So, enjoy it?
Oh, we lost.
We
lose
did.
Brian?
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I'm enjoying it immensely.
I thought you might. It's only going to get better. I'm just letting you know. It's going to get madder, but it'll get better. And it's good now.
Fully
So
expected to get better and madder.
it's going to
yes.
get... Oh, it's going to get very mad. I mean, I told you before, the original ending was Craven turning into a tree.
Mm.
So... Okay. Did they tell you the story of the black... Did we have the story of the black flowers in this episode? No? All right. Well, maybe next
Flowers.
episode. I'll have to wait and see. If we don't hear it, if we have missed it, then I'll point it out another time. Right then. I'm very sorry about this, but I think Brian's realised that there's nothing more for him to do because it's just me and Spanky. Which was something I was trying to avoid. I didn't want it ongoing because with you and Brian just sat there, it's not very
all right.
fair on you, you know?
That's okay. If you want, I listened to the Starship Titanic. If you want, I can talk about that.
I'm
The
game.
audiobook.
I'm game. Go on then.
It's a
Podcasting
based
exam.
It's based on a video game,
Mm-hmm.
which came out of Douglas Adams's work and then was turned into a novel, a collaboration between him and Terry Jones. I do not know how much of that happened after Adams's death, or if it was a collaboration when he was alive. I don't know what the publication history on it is.
You keep going. I'll look it up.
But Terry Jones reads the audiobook, and it's on YouTube. And I had listened to it before, and it came up. I had been thinking about it for some reason. Maybe we talked about something, and it kicked into my head, and I was like, oh, I haven't listened to that in forever. I should go find it. And I did, and really enjoyed it. I forgot parts of it. But there's a line in Hitchhiker's Guide.
Adams
Yes.
is part of this. Yes.
Okay, so it was a collaboration between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it does read. It reads like Adams's work. But in its brilliant... there's a line in Hitchhiker's Guide about the Starship Titanic suffering a total existence failure. And it's just a throwaway line.
Yeah.
And so the entire book is about how that happened. And so you have it starts with kind of the aliens who created the starship. and the architect who's just the best at everything ever in the whole world ever, and the guys who have been scamming him, because basically the creation of the starship, which is amazing, has bankrupted planets.
See, Douglas
And-
Adams thinks big.
Yes, yes. And so they took it away from the planet it bankrupted, which was a planet who prides themselves on craftsmanship. And they are just old-fashioned craftsmen. And they gave it to this cheap planet to finish the work. And the planet, all the workers are the unwed mothers. The teenage unwed mothers who have finished the thing. Well, quasi-finished the thing, as in not really finished it. And a whole bunch, several of the characters, like his lawyer and somebody else, realized it was never going to get finished, and it was never going to be... So they just decided to siphon off money and do everything on the cheap, and then blow the thing up for the insurance. And the architect realizes the day before it's supposed to get launched. And as it's launched, it suffers a total existence failure and shows up and crashes in London, through a house where 4 people are 2 business partners and
This
their
is
girlfriends.
not like I thought it would be. I've never read Starship
You've
Titanic
never read
or
it?
played it or whatever. I think I want to now. Audible, here we come.
Yeah.
It's on
The-
YouTube.
Yeah, it's all on. I listened to it on YouTube as an
Audible.
audiobook.
I'm listening to Rivers of London at the moment.
Oh, I love the Rivers of London books. The audios are
The
fantastic.
Peter Grant novels.
Yes, they're so good. That narrator's amazing.
He is. He's superb.
And so they crash into this, and 3 of the 4 of them end up on the starship, and it takes off again. And so now they're on this starship, and the architect gets left behind with the other guy.
Oh dear.
And so without giving
I was going to say, don't
Too
give
much
too much away.
yes, you end up with a beautiful Douglas Adams, amazing starship, luxury starship, with robots who are completely and utterly mad. It's like Eddie taken to
Oh, God, no.
and all the
Oh God, no! Are we talking Talkie Toaster here?
yes, Talkie Toaster. All the doors from Hitchhikers that are like glad to be of service, like all of that, taken to 11.
Yeah. Someone was basically winding somebody up like that. One of these Russian chatbot things had got in touch with them. So, welcome back, Brian. You all right,
You
dude?
have returned.
There he is.
Oh, he can't hear us. Welcome back. Are you all right?
Oh, I'm just fine.
Okay, ace. So,
No. Internet.
right, okay. So, what was I saying?
The chatbots
Yes.
winding people up.
Yeah, so he got this Russian chat box. So he just went complete Talkie Toaster on its ass. Do you want some toast? Hi, I think you're wonderful. What about a muffin? And
Yeah.
just kept going. I interact with, what's it called? Bard, the Google AI. It's very basic at the moment. You can tell it's basically stitching together articles it's found online to try and make them sound more realistic, if you know what I mean. You know, more like they're a spoken
yes.
person rather than a...
That's how children who haven't done their work write their essays.
I'm detecting a particular peeve here. Pet peeve time.
I was one of those.
Your teacher could tell.
You are going to be put in detention. I'm sorry.
I got pretty good grades on the reports that I plagiarized. I'll have you know.
Mm-hmm.
You take a little from one book, you take another one for another book, and you take a third, and you kind of combine them all for 5 pages.
Mm-hmm. And if the teacher's really, really tired or not reading properly,
Or hasn't read all the source materials.
Or hasn't read all the source material, yeah. Yeah, I can usually peg them because they use vocabulary the kids don't know. They might know it reading, they know the word, but it's not a word they'd use. It uses sophisticated punctuation that the children don't use. It uses spelling that the children don't use. Or it refers to parts of the text that we didn't read. One of them, we read the Wife of Bat's Tale. We do not read the Wife of Bat's Tale prologue, which says she's been married 5 times.
Do you get much of that?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm disappointed.
They think they're slick.
I thought they'd be better than that.
No.
You can tell
It's
them
the
that.
internet,
You can
have
tell the
to
next one
be.
who did that. You can tell him that he's disappointed auntie. That's not going to screw him up and get his parents involved.
So, yeah, they try it all the time. They also try just Googling their answers, but the problem is I write my own tests. So when they get back an answer, often they don't read it because they weren't paying attention in the first place. So, like, we read Macbeth, and they Googled answers and got answers that had to do with Romeo and Juliet and just copy and pasted them in. Referring to characters in play.
I thought your students were bright.
Many of
Until
them
this
are.
moment.
Many of them are. They just think they're slick, and they're not. They think I'm dumb.
That's the problem with kids, right? They think they're
Yeah,
smart.
they think
and
they're
actually-
smart.
They actually think it's someone else's dumb, and that's not the way it works. Yeah.
Talking of kids, how's Hex? How's he doing? Have you heard from him?
No, he is in boot camp. He is still in his.
He can write,
just
can't
not
he?
allowed to write letters phase.
Really? Oh, we were
Yeah,
allowed
they're
to.
not allowed to do
And
anything
phone.
for like the first month or something. So yeah.
Okay. Mind you, that's... Is it the Army or the... No, it's the Navy. So Royal Navy was different. But of course it's
Well, it was
different because
different when I was in,
we've got a legacy and a heritage and, you know. Sorry? What? Oh, right. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Yes. Let us move on to
Sure.
Callan. Brian, don't worry. Lilibet's covered for your absence.
Yes, I told them all about Starship Titanic
Ah,
There you go.
by
okay.
Douglas Adams and Terry
Because
Jones.
I thought it was a bit
I
too...
was going to tell them about this TV show from CBS in the 1980s called Other Earth. It was really good. Well, okay, it was really good for our standards.
Okay. Sounds familiar.
No, a little bit covered. So now you get to hear about it next week.
Fine by
There
me.
you
It saves
go.
you having to do shit. It means you put your feet up for a
Exactly.
week. It's fine by me. Okay.
Ah,
Oh, bless you.
I don't have to read any more wikis.
Oh, come along, brain. Ah, yes. Last week on Callan, James Cross, the young agent who, with everything to prove, pistol whipped a young girl. This week, she is still in a serious condition.
Unable to walk.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Vegetable, basically.
the section's very own NIDA, Dr. Snell, has come to see Callan, because remember, Callan is Hunter now.
Yep.
And he's a bit worried about Cross. He thinks Cross is going to break. In the meantime, there's a hoo-ha about a couple of Russian hitmen. And they've got to follow one, and but Callan has gone to the other target. Sorry, not Callan. Callan has sent Cross to the other target, which is in a university somewhere, and they're sitting there chatting. Unfortunately, this guy, he's not a traitor to communism. It's just he can't publish his book in Russia, so he's come to England to publish his book. But he's a good communist. And his words seem to get under Cross's skin a little bit, to be fair. Suffice to say, it goes tits up. The northern assassin, which they'd followed him up, Toby and co had followed him up, basically was a
Gotta go,
decoy.
be right back.
Was a decoy. And fair dues, Toby's given permission to sweat him as much as he wants to get as much information, which you can see Callan's distasteful about, but nope, that's what's happening. However, the other assassin has gone up to the this college or wherever it is that they're staying, and Cross hears a little girl call out from the courtyard, "It's Itchy Bunny, a doggy!"
Started
Well-
getting my lap. Keep talking.
So he hears this girl go, "Look, Daddy, it's a man on the roof." So he immediately realises something's up. And he goes out onto the roof to look for this man. And then the kid goes, "Look, now there are two men." And Cross gets shot and falls and is dead.
And that child is now traumatized in
Oh,
therapy.
Christ, yes.
And she
Not
wins a
that.
lifetime of trauma. Yay!
Not that we'll ever hear any more of her. She was convenient to the plot.
Well, no, I mean, she was actually instrumental because you needed the child, the guilt Cross had at some child out, you
Yeah.
know, that he just hurt. That's what drew him out of the room.
Yeah, there was a girl.
Because there was a little girl out there, not that there was somebody on the roof.
Now, Snell
I
had...
think that was a lot more important, you know, that a child, a girl child, was the hook that got him out there. Because they could have had any jackass yell, "Oh, there's a dude on the roof," and, you know.
Snell had been warning Callan that Cross was about to break and probably suicidal. And Callan was poo-pooing. And he stood by his man. He doesn't like Cross. But he'll stand by his men.
Stand by him. Yep.
So, that has happened. And all shit follows. Callan declares a red alert.
And then does
Which
the
was,
worst thing he possibly
yeah,
can,
and then does the worst thing he possibly can in this particular situation. He goes to the
which
scene
is
of
leave
the
the
crime.
office, yes.
He leaves the office. He's not allowed to leave the office during a red alert. And he goes up to the place where it happens. And in the end, he's the one who catches, well, he shoots dead the guy who killed Cross.
Yep.
However, in the meantime,
And he gets some interesting last words.
what were they?
He let me shoot him.
Yes. Thank you. I
That
had
was
forgotten.
the Russian assassin's final words. He let me shoot him.
And Snell basically shows Callan a book where Cross has circled certain things, and yeah, the guy was suicidal. However, all hell's broken loose now. Callan's broken the number one rule of the section.
He broke a bunch of rules there, yeah, but the golden rules.
The golden
now
rule is
that's
he's
kind of
not
screwed.
allowed to to leave the office. He gets sacked as Hunter,
Oh yeah.
which
He
leads.
pisses off Bishop is what he does.
Oh yeah,
If it had
definitely.
been the previous Hunter, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. But Bishop really doesn't like Callan.
No, he's an uppity
He puts
little
him in
oik.
there. Right, he puts him in there as a stopgap, and figures, you know, Callan. You know, hunters have a really high mortality rate. This won't
Yes.
last long. You know, that's what Bishop's thinking when he puts Callan in there. But what happens is Callan's actually kind of good at the job, but not in the way
He wants
they
him to be.
want.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good way of putting
And
it.
so,
He's coming from a
at the
field
first
view
chance, oh yeah,
rather
both
than an
feet on
office view.
Callan.
So,
Yeah.
this leads to a wonderful scene. Oddly enough, I don't know, it wasn't Lonely's place. It was like Callan's old flat before he got hunted and moved to Mayfair and whatever. And he's pissed as a fart. He's absolutely wrecked. And
Callan's
he's
just
pouring
drunk.
his heart out to Lonely. But he's not making much sense to Lonely because Lonely doesn't know what he does. He's got a couple of ideas, but he doesn't know. And
Lonely is still clueless.
Lonely was it's there's this look on Russell Hunter's face where the character, you can see the character is feeling pain because his friend is in pain, but at the same time he's also a bit scared and he doesn't understand. And Callan, like I say, is completely wrecked. Utterly, he's gone. He's lost it. He's a mess. That's where it ends. More to come. Obviously, a new hunter, you'd think. Will Callan still be with the section? We don't know. Can he go back to the section until after you've been hunter? As it is, things there's going to be a few episodes now which are fairly normal. The calm before the storm, basically. However, we're on the last series, and it has a proper conclusion to it, which is nice. And then they came back with the wet job. Let's never talk of that again.
20 years later.
Yeah. Oh God.
I don't know. I kind of like the wet job, even though it was poorly filmed and the execution was a little crap. But it did close some loopholes and stuff. So I wouldn't. You get to see Lonely grow up. I mean, if for nothing else, the wet job was good for that.
It's coincidental music by the same guy who did Sapphire and Steel, Cyril Aldendale, and it's terrible.
I don't know if y'all could hear that.
Hugh Waters as Hunter. It's all filmed on bright 1980s VT rather than film. At least with Callan, you had filmed excerpts like in the old days. There was actually an interesting thread on Twitter this week about that. Someone bemoaning the lack of multi-camera recording for dramas because it was an art form in itself. And it's been supplanted by everybody wanting to be filmic. And it's a case of, no, you're missing out on that.
All those long.
Now, is that nostalgia talking, or is it the truth? Is it a bit of both?
I don't know, but they on WandaVision, they went back when they filmed each episode. They went back and talked to people who knew how to film that way and used those techniques.
Inside number 9.
The classic results.
Inside number 9, one of the Christmas specials, was set in a multi-camera studio. And they wanted it filmed, taped with a multi-camera setup. So they got Doctor Who director Graham Harper to come back, because he was one of the few directors who knew and remembered how a multi-camera studio still works. And plus it's Graham Harper. You can't go wrong. So Brian's dead again. Oh!
No, it's not.
It lives. Is this the third day? Oh, all right. Okay.
I keep telling you, I'm not a zombie, I'm a lich.
Listen, even though I play World of Warcraft, and I have played the hero class Death Knight during Wrath of the Lich King, I still have no real idea about any of it. I don't bother with the lore. It bores me. I haven't got the attention span. Neither was Spanky. Yeah, which is a shame, because I heard it's very good. And I have watched catch-up videos. But I've probably forgotten most of
being
that.
mauled for snacks, so I had to supply some.
Maul him, Michi! Maul him!
He would have been up here on the table and stuff. And here, have a Slim Jim, dude.
So, your opinion, I know you like Callan, but comparatively to other Callans, what did you think?
I thought this was a really good episode.
I can hear a but.
Well, no, you get to see Callan crack a little bit.
Yes.
Because he's pushed really beyond his capabilities in some ways.
Yep.
And you see how he functions with that. He gets roaring drunk. He almost spills some beans that he really shouldn't.
He came close, didn't he?
Yeah, right. So, I think it's very interesting. It does a lot to develop the character of Callan even further, which they've done so much on. It's one of the greatest parts about the series.
But they've done the same with Lonely, though. That's just it. They haven't Callan hasn't left everybody else behind. Cross, all right, he didn't really have an arc so much as a couple of episodes. Mears is back, but he's not.
That's the thing.
There's nothing heavy that's going to go on with Mears. Mears is just a heavy who comes in and does stuff and annoys Callan.
Right.
There's nothing there's no ongoing thing with Mears.
Well, he's dealt with as an afterthought.
But
right?
it's Callan. This is starting to go into Callan and Lonely's relationship. But like I say, that scene, that heartbreaking scene,
And it goes much further later. Yeah.
And the look on Russell Hunter's face. Christ, no, I mean, Lonely is thick. Really thick. So fuck knows what he
Thick as a
thinks
brick.
Callan does. I think at first he thought he was a criminal.
Oh yes, that was what he was deliberately led to believe by Callan.
Yeah, but it's changed. He's now got a radio cab that basically the section turn round and get him to follow people and take people for rides.
And do the work right, basically. Still surprised they haven't made Lonely like work training their agents because you can't follow the guy.
That's
He's
actually a
slick,
very,
as much as
very
he
good
stinks
point.
and all
I
that,
should
you can't
imagine.
follow the guy.
I should imagine if Callan had been in the job any longer, he might have started putting that in. Because I think both Mears and Cross have mentioned, we had no idea. He says, that's
Yeah,
because he's
where'd
a
he go?
genius.
He just disappeared. Like,
And you
it's
think,
gone.
oh, that's nice of Callan to say about Lonely.
That's Lonely. You let him loose on the streets of London, and you won't find him.
He'll
may
find
catch
you.
him at his apartment or whatever, but he'll find you. But
Oh,
if he's out there running loose, he is gone.
do you? Because I mean, we are heading towards the end of this. Do you want to do the wet job?
Yes.
Oh, you bastard!
I know you
Therefore,
don't like
do
that,
you
but it
want
does-
to watch the
it has a
film?
place. The film?
The film of Callan.
There's a film of Callan?
There is
What do you mean? You're confusing me.
a movie.
Yeah, The Wet Job.
No,
I thought that was the only
no,
movie.
that was just a special thing for ITV's 30th or something like that. It was a
Must be one I may have missed then. Yes, absolutely. If it's one I've never seen.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, you won't have seen that version of it, but it's basically the very first Callan story told as a film. With
Really?
different actors and a
did
huger
they-
budget, but you still
Oh,
get
wow.
Iwa Wiwa and Russell Hunter, which is important.
Okay, I will give it a shot. Yeah, just because it's
I think it.
One more
I
for
think
the-
it misses the atmosphere of the TV show. If I'm honest with you,
I'll take a
I
look
mean,
at
let's
it,
face
just-
facts. How many films
just
that we
'cause-
know of
Look,
that have
we did
made
the Peter
come
Cushing
from
Doctor Who's, so we can definitely do somebody else on Callan.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
how many TV shows basically are transferred to film successfully? I mean, in the 70s
None.
we had a lot of
Name one, I
substandard
dare you.
films based on sitcoms. And this is all these substandard films. In case you're wondering.
Star Trek is the one I
No,
can
well,
think of
yeah,
off the top
but
of my
it took
head.
'em it took them a bunch of movies to get traction on that.
Yeah.
Because the first 3 or 4 movies were just garbage.
Oh, see, I
disagree.
like the
Until
whale
Search for Spock,
film.
I think they were really just flails.
I'm not over fond of the whale film, but I can
Odd
understand
Trek
why people
movies
like it.
are- Odd Trek movies suck.
Nah.
Evens are good.
No, disagree.
I can
Wrath of
I can always
Khan.
go with that.
Brilliant.
Wrath of Khan
Search for
is freaking
Spock.
awesome.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I love Search for Spock. I know I'm in the minority, but I love
good.
it.
Yeah, but see, I like Generations. I don't like Nemesis, and I don't like.
I like Nemesis.
What's the one? I don't like the one where. Well, I like parts of the first
Insurrection?
Generations.
Yep, you got Generations,
Insurrection. I don't like Insurrection.
First Contact,
I don't-
Insurrection, and then
Yeah, I don't like.
Nemesis.
I
First
like
Chris Pine one.
I actually like that too. I like the new ones. I mean, it's very JJ, and they spend far too much time hanging off of things by the tips of their fingers.
Yeah.
But
Can't
if you did a
see,
drinking
lens
game-
flare.
I just can't deal with the lens flare.
Yeah, the lens flare too. If you did a drinking game between the hanging with the tips of the fingers and the lens flare, you'd be gone by the end of it.
You'd be good for it. Yeah.
But I like all the goofy next gen episodes. I like the ones where they're funny. I like the ones where the cast is together and they're not all like all about to die from some sort of horrific torture thing. I
I
like
like the next gens that have continuity.
I am very much looking forward to your reaction to Picard when you get to watch it. Would
Yeah,
you
and I'm
please
really
would you
looking
please
forward
come
to it.
here and tell us?
I will.
Thank you.
I will. I've
It's
been
your
watching
call
a
if
few
you do
clips
it.
on YouTube. but-
It's your call if
I'm
you
in
do
the
it
middle of
episode
the
by
second.
episode or just go the whole thing. It's entirely down to you how you want to do it. But I mean,
but-
because I think we've all got views on Picard. So yeah.
At some point, I'm gonna have to do a free weekend or something and watch them because I'm not paying.
Do they
for
do that
Paramount.
often? I
It
don't
makes
blame
me
you.
angry. Well, they do free trials.
I've
30-day
cancelled most of my
trials.
I have a
subscriptions.
Walmart Plus membership, so I get Paramount Plus for free. But it's the one with the commercials in it. So the $5.99 or whatever, the 10,
Yeah.
which is I paid for.
Hang on, so you still pay for
commercial, but who
access
cares?
and you still get
It
commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Who cares?
And you still get commercials.
Oh, yeah.
I had
yeah.
done the
They're
one
big
with no
on that.
commercials, and when I saw that Walmart Plus was giving it away as part of their membership, I went, oh, I don't need to pay the commercial-free thing anymore. I'll just.
It's
watch
the
it.
amount of adverts you have in an hour-long program.
So, you know.
I mean, this.
So bad about commercials, who cares?
I think I found out about this in the 90s. But of course,
I
you have
wish
the cold
America would do
open
commercials the British way, though, right?
and the title sequence. Then it goes to an ad break,
Start or the end,
and
not
then
the middle.
that clockwork will run down.
Did
And
it freeze again?
thanks, Banks. I've completely forgotten what I was saying.
Well, the number of ad breaks.
Yes, thank you.
In the 90s.
So yeah, and then you got an ad break practically right before the final scene as well.
Yeah.
Now
Usually.
for an hour-long show on ITV, which was the commercial channel, you would get two. Gonna sneeze. Oh, for fuck's sake! What is happening tonight? Yeah, you'd get two, 3-4 minute ad breaks in an hour, and that would be it. And then,
Yeah, I wish we could do something like that. Yeah.
strangely,
That'd be great.
very strangely, when the BBC were launching a big new show or something, they decided this is the week we're going to start increasing the advertising spaces. And now it's everywhere. It's not as bad as in America. I think you get about 3 to 4 for an hour, which is still very, very annoying. I mean, I've seen stuff from American TV on YouTube.
Big Bang
and
Theory
you've
became
got
unwatchable in the
lots
last
of-
few seasons.
Lots of things coming up
'cause
on the
it was
scene.
so many
So.
commercials and things. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah. It became unwatchable.
I
We
wonder
ended
if
up
they
watching
actually
it on
work.
streaming.
I mean, they must work.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my feeling about commercials.
Please.
If you come in and tell me information about a thing that I'm already interested in without interrupting the thing I want to do. So between shows, for example, if you come in and say like this thing is sponsored by so and so who brings it to you commercial free. And we, buy this thing because we're very interested.
You guys
in whatever.
advertise drugs, don't you, over there?
Yes.
Yes.
We don't. I mean,
Most
you'll
of-
have aspirin or cough mixture, but that's about it.
No, they
Oh,
advertise
paracetamol
prescription
as well, but no.
prescription drugs
All
over
kinds
here
of
too.
stuff. Yeah.
Almighty, it's mad.
It's weird. I don't mind if you come in at the beginning of something before it starts or at the end of something when it's over. I don't even mind so much in the middle. Like, give me one break in the middle, build the tension, But if you're coming in and interrupting the thing I enjoy, YouTube is bad about this and it makes me angry. It didn't used to have commercials and it doesn't do me any good. It just makes me angry at whatever
Get a
product
better
it
ad
is.
blocker. Yeah.
If you're interrupting the thing I'm enjoying to tell me about your product, now you've successfully associated your product with my negative
I
feelings.
can't get an ad
Yep.
blocker for the
Yeah,
Xbox.
absolutely. Yep.
So now I'm
That's
just
what
mad
I
at
get
your
from
product.
Advertisements more than anything, right? Now I hate your product.
I mean,
Thank you
there's a
for
lot of
screwing up my
targeted
show.
advertising.
I hate your product.
They
Yeah.
go by obviously the demographic. A and B people will, of a certain age watch at this sort of thing, But of course, certainly for the daytime, there's an awful lot of stuff aimed at the elderly, and some of it's disgusting. I mean, you saw the adverts Saul Goodman came up with in Better Call Saul. They could easily have been genuine. Have any of you seen Better Call Saul?
I
Some
haven't.
of it, not all of it
I'm
yet.
familiar
Anybody
with,
seen?
I know what
okay.
it is. But
Anybody seen Breaking Bad?
again,
No.
I'm aware of it, but it is not an Elizabeth show.
It's not genre. I don't care about it.
Yeah, all right, I can give you that. Unless you like pizzas on roofs, or plane crashers, or neo-Nazis, white supremacists.
Yeah,
Getting
didn't
gunned
watch
down.
The Sopranos either.
I didn't
I
watch
didn't
watch
Sons of
The Sopranos,
Anarchy
yeah.
either.
Don't know what that is.
I did watch Sons of Anarchy. It was really good until the last season.
I could have given a shit about it.
I found the man in the high castle made me fall asleep.
I did see that.
I
Ooh,
started watching this,
Adam
just lost
admitted
interest,
today
like,
that
2 episodes in.
he'd fallen asleep at the cinema before.
Fallen asleep in the cinema.
Mainly
Yeah,
because
me
I
too.
think films are too long and these particular films weren't engaging, so he missed their final act.
Oh, my problem
yeah.
is I would go after work and I'm up so early and work is intense. And then now you've put me in a nice, quiet, calm, dark place that's cool and put me in a comfortable chair that reclines and no one's allowed to talk to me for an hour and a half.
Oh yeah,
That's an expensive Netflix.
Totally.
That's what that is.
it's a 15.
Your
$20
chair's
app. You got
reclined?
it.
My God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're total.
I mean, I'm going to be
Reclining,
honest with you.
Feet up.
The seats
They don't serve
at our
alcohol
local
here like they do
cinema
there, but
are
yeah.
a hell of a lot better than the
working on it.
seats we used to have in Jersey at the cinemas there, because they were proper old theatre seats which flapped down and they fucking hurt. I remember I got a job, I had to remove the seats and the arms from all the seats in the Opera House, the Jersey Opera House. There was just me doing it, and I had another screwdriver, and these things were old. Oh God, they were old. I couldn't do it. It was taking forever to do because there was just me there, and they were just, the screws were just solid in the wood. Yeah, that job didn't last longer than a day.
We have an atmospheric old style theater downtown, which is absolutely gorgeous. Which is Polk
We
Theater.
don't, which is a shame.
But they do both live performances and film.
I think there's possibly a, no, I don't know. There might be a little theatre for the Ifield players. Ifield Barn Theatre. They may have their own place, or unless they do stuff down the hall, which is our.
You have a really old theater.
Would you
here.
like
Art
to do
Centre.
Man in the High
Pioneer Theater
Castle?
in Manio, and it's
No,
like
like I said, I fell
$3.50
asleep.
for everybody, no candy more than $1.50.
Really?
Yeah, man. I found it
Freaking
incredibly
awesome.
dull.
We used to have a dollar
It's like
theater.
a couple weeks old, but nobody cares. Yeah.
And downtown on the south side of town, and Dave's favorite place, which was they served dinner in the theater.
Oh God Almighty!
You
There
could
was a
sit, you
theater
sat
that used
at
to do the dollar thing in
tables,
Greenville. It was good.
and you could order hamburgers and pitchers of beer.
Yeah, I can
and
see why he liked it. I would
He
like it
loved it.
too.
Mm-hmm.
He loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they closed that a while ago, but they called it Mugs and Movies. And
I'm sure there's a business opportunity over here. Trouble
Oh,
is,
he
all
so
the,
wanted.
place
He
you could
so
go to.
wanted to like win the lottery and set up a Mugs and Movies style over there.
oh
That'd be
God,
cool.
yes, that would be brilliant. It would, because I mean, most of our stuff is Cineworld or whatever. It's the main chains, and it's a case of something like that would be really cool. But of course,
It was very cool.
the main chains tend to have the rights for.
Well,
Old
and
films
what they
sewn
ran
up.
was like second run films, a lot of it, or like when Star Wars came back again. You know, they'd run it, stuff like that.
40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I knew there was something. I like that film. Yub yub.
Yeah, I like
nub.
Return of the Jedi.
Yub yub.
Yeah, I don't care
Nub,
if the
I don't
movie's
know.
been out for a month already. Yeah, then I'll go to the theater and see it, right? Not like
Well, I'm
first
waiting
days,
for
crowds
Disney
and crap.
Plus to have Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp. That'll be a while yet.
I think it's on Disney, so yeah.
I don't think it's there yet. Unless you want to pay for it. I'd rather not pay for it on top of
No,
a
they only have to
prescription.
pay for like the first week or something, and then they give it to you for free. So just wait a week. Who cares?
Yeah.
We'll see. But I'm not in a rush. I want to see it because it's an important Marvel
They had
movie.
Black
I'm
Adam.
waiting for the
Black Adam on there and a
D&D
couple
movie
other
to
things.
get out there.
Oh, Adam saw it whilst he was up in Edinburgh.
Yeah, I know. I hear it's really good.
Thumbs up. Yeah, I've not heard
hear
anything
there
bad
are
about it.
Rules issues with it.
Oh,
but
it's a
I
movie,
don't
for heaven's
care.
sakes. How many different versions of D&D have there been, you know? It's
Yeah, I'm sure.
it's a movie, just let it
Yeah.
go. Just let it go.
I don't care so much about it. I'm not going to nitpick that stuff.
Nah, it's a fantasy movie, and look at it that way. It's got the D&D logo, but it's not really the game, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
a lot of people have said they do take the game very much into consideration. In fact, the review I said basically had that the final denouement was essentially straight out of an RPG scenario, the final fight, with people scrabbling to get things done and everything else like that. It was played like it was... I mean, they weren't rolling dice or anything else like that, but it was as if they were suddenly the
So
avatars
which
of...
edition is this supposed to go off of then?
5th.
Is it?
Well,
Oh my god.
supposedly it's supposed to be 6.
I don't
but
know
they
anything
canceled
about
6, and now 5 is going to be forever.
I know nothing
5
about it.
expanded, so basically 5.5, which they don't want you to say, so it's 5.5.
Right. 5.5 or 5 expanded.
Is
Yeah.
it me or Wizards of the Coast fucking weird?
Oh, no. Money.
This
coming
is
fast,
what
that's
happens
they are.
when you get people
Magic the
from
Gathering.
Xbox to run your goddamn company who don't understand the player base, and they fuck it up so bad that the players come up in almost armed revolt against your policies, and you lose 10,000 subscriptions in like 3 days.
Star Wars Galaxies.
This started with Magic the Gathering when Wizards of the Coast put Magic the Gathering out before White Wolf and all that other crap because they were turning out new editions as soon as they realized what the collector value was, and they did the alphas and then they did the reprints, and the reprints sold like crazy, and they went, oh crap, you know what? This is a license to print money, and just boom, 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 just.
Oh, it
more
gets
cards,
even
more
worse
cards. The
because
same thing with
if
the
you
Eves
look
and everything else they did, look at Vampire.
I got given a
if you
starter deck.
look on YouTube, they had a creator conference, which was little more than, hey, this is what we have coming up. Nope, no questions about what we don't want you to
Bye.
ask.
We don't want you to ask any questions.
Start the car. Start the
And
car.
then they all just pretty much revolted and just started asking, so what are your apologies? Well, we don't want to talk about, oh, what are your apologies? Why aren't you answering their question?
I hope
Why
one
aren't you
of them
answering
turned
their
around and
question?
said that the peasants were revolting.
Oh, God, it was apparently a
That one.
bloodbath.
Definitely.
So, next week,
They were making tours.
there is no Two Fan Dinosaurs for the foreseeable future. Sinister's working too hard, basically. And I actually could do with the break. So, Two Fan we finished Legopolis, we finished season 18. You can win this Blu-ray box set. Send me a message on the YouTube channel Bibble Thruster and tell me what connects Antiques Roadshow with the Keeper of Traken from this season. Please don't enter if you've already got a copy. And it'll be first out the hat.
UK only.
No,
So
only
you can
because
enter.
of the region thing, yeah.
It's region locked.
Yeah, which is a shame, but there we go. So there's
If you've
that.
got a
Someone
region
from
free
Europe, please
Blu-ray
enter.
player.
Yeah.
But we still got the competition ongoing. Right, so next Saturday, I'll be at a Doctor Who convention. Next Sunday, I'll come back from a Doctor Who convention. Next Sunday evening, we have got Silver Nemesis, I'm so sorry. We have
put it
the
up,
latest
General.
Fifth Doctor set. We have another episode of Edge of Darkness, the fourth, out of 6, and another episode of Callan, where we're on the final series. Things are going to change up a little bit, and Brian and Lilibet may well review stuff themselves. I don't know. Whatever you
We'll
want
see.
to do. No pressure.
We'll
you
see
can.
what I got time
Don't
for.
have to. Whatever you feel like, quite frankly. I quite like the
Oh,
idea
I
that
figured out how to kill your character. It's called a Pogtalian Dragon Slayer.
Oh no.
There you go.
you're making up silly sounds now, aren't you?
Nope, I'm making up nightmares. It's totally different.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American dream right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go and watch Jeffrey Dahmer. It might be nicer. Right, so that's next week's show, which is next Sunday at 9 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you're going to the Dwas capital, I'll see you there, hopefully. I say come buy me a cup of hot chocolate and we'll have a good old natter. I like meeting listeners or viewers, or whatever the hell they call them, readers. Just come and chat with me, basically. It'd be lovely to meet you. I'd like to introduce you to the others, but they're in America, so it sucks to be them.
Yeah.
And we're all over America.
Yes, we are.
They're all
We're
over that
not in
thing.
one
We're
spot
scattered up
in
and down the
America.
East Coast, I think, now, yeah.
Well, that's okay, because Sinister has more than one nuke. I'm just saying.
Yes, that's okay.
be fair.
We're all in prime nuke target range.
Mm,
so,
we-
yeah.
yeah.
Right now, I
For
welcome
Sinister, yes.
death and embrace it as a brother.
Listen, I live in an area where alligators regularly wander.
There you go.
In fact, another one made the news the other day. 15-foot walking across the road, just being an alligator. So
Doing gator things, right?
I'm not
It's
worried.
a fucking mad country. It's fucking mad. No
Got
wonder
him
the
here.
people are
One ran
mad.
out on the golf course a few years ago and bit some lady golfer on the ass. Like ran out, bit her on the ass, turned around and ran back into the woods.
I live
No.
within a mile of the third most polluted lake in America.
Oh,
What do you
God
got?
almighty.
There you go. See?
I used to
We need
tell
nukes.
Dave, you hear on the news alligator eats person in lake, and with the exception of that poor child recently, most of the time, if someone gets bit by an alligator in a lake, they were in the lake doing a thing that they weren't supposed to be
Well,
doing.
the trouble you had was keeping him off the
Well,
alcohol
more
because he always
science and
wanted to go and
stuff, yeah.
punch an alligator.
Yes, he did once threaten to fight an alligator. Yes, he
Yeah,
did. And
he
I went
did.
over and told him he's not allowed to challenge alligators to fights.
Did he put on
they'll
his
win,
little boy
regardless.
face?
Smart girl. Good job.
No, he told it to come out of the lake if he thought it was hard enough.
Don't know why I'm doing that for, because, Christ's sakes, the alligator doesn't know what he's talking about. It's just, I don't know, the food's talking.
Yes. Yeah. But usually they got, usually people who get bit by alligators got chased into the lake because they were doing meth and running from the cops.
Oh, yeah. I
And
saw
then they
that
get
one.
eaten by the alligator. I mean, that's almost always how.
I mean,
this
forget
goes.
cocaine bear, you've got meth alligator.
Oh yeah.
Cocaine
Yeah.
bear, meth alligators.
New Sci-Fi Channel movie:
Yeah.
Cocaine Bear versus
Meth
Meth
alligator.
Alligator.
Alligators.
The idea
Oh,
is
it'll be
here,
a
Siffy.
hit. We should make
The
this
idea
movie.
is here.
Oh my
Come and
God.
speak to me.
I mean, we did
I
have
like the script.
legitimately the
Concept
anaconda
scenes and all.
that ate the alligator and exploded
Yep.
because it tried to eat an alligator and the alligator wasn't quite dead yet and it was inside the anaconda and they were trying to eat each other.
Mm-hmm. Gotta love that.
Piranaconda versus
Carson was done with the
Meth Gator versus Cocaine Bear versus what is it? Barracuda Dactyl or something?
Yeah, starring some sitcom guy from the 80s.
So Lilibet,
Featuring Sharktopus.
Lilibet is, to be fair, an expert on this, and it's not her fault.
Yes, I have been indoctrinated.
Because Professor Dave's Ark in Space was such an eclectic podcast, Dave
we-
indulged himself a little bit, and the crappiest fucking movies you could possibly ever think of.
Wolf.
He loved it.
Werewolf.
Loved
Werewolf, frankly, legitimately has a very funny portion.
Oh yeah.
Where Werewolf is in the mall looking at one of those "You Are Here" signs for what is it? Sharktopus or somebody that
Yeah.
he's chasing. So he's looking in the mall going, oh, legitimately very funny.
Sharktopus versus Whale Wolf. It's a classic.
I know Dave was very disappointed in me that I'd never try one. But I
They-
said,
they
no,
are-
my sanity has
Well,
moments.
I
You have to
mean,
be in the right mood
Yes.
and have plenty of
and
alcohol.
unconscious. Yeah. Yeah.
or other alternate
I saw
substances.
one, I think it might have been Mega Shark or something, saw the beginning of
Yes.
it around Lindsay's.
Yep.
And
There's
we
many
got
of
to the
those.
point where the passenger jet was flying over, and the shark leapt hundreds of feet into the air and grabbed
ate
the
the
passenger.
jet?
An ape
Yes.
jet. Yeah.
We turned the thing off after that.
Oh, see, that's okay. Dave's favorite part in Sharktopus, I believe it was Sharktopus, is where it jumps up and eats a bungee jumper. He laughed like a drain. Because the person does it once and says, "Oh, that was great. Let's do it again." And then they do a second time and get eaten by the shark.
Tippus.
Yes. It was his
Okay.
favorite part. I have that made him laugh, and the scene from Super Dave Osborne
I love
he-
Super Dave.
when he jumped off. He's like talking to the camera. Let me show you how this works, and I'll do the jump, and then we'll talk about it. And he goes and he jumps and he falls short of the mat.
Hello,
and
Rosie.
as he's falling, he goes like, "Oh, I've missed it," and then hits.
New
And-
pain.
Dave laughed and rewinded and watched it again, and laughed and rewinded and watched it again.
Super Dave. Oh my god, I forgot about it.
I love
Oh,
Super Dave.
There's a whole special, like a whole documentary.
I'm gonna have to look
on
this
how
up.
that-
He had a
bunch of
Saturday
that.
morning
It's
cartoon.
an evil
Yes.
kind of rip-off type of thing. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Just,
But it
I
just went
agree.
wrong, did it?
Yes, it always went wrong.
Oh,
It's supposed to
Everything
go
goes wrong,
wrong.
right?
Fascia.
Yes. And they made I think the documentary's on HBO, but there's a whole documentary about how they developed the character and clips of it and people being interviewed and
Fair enough.
yeah, but just YouTube Super Dave Osborne.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to see that particular clip.
can see
I
whatever
will
clip.
find it for you.
Because that yeah, if it did one of those to Dave, then it's got to be good.
Yes.
Well, she pretty much described the entire show.
Yeah. But that one
It's a bit like
particular clip,
Jackass
yeah,
from
I'll
the
find
sounds
it for
of
you.
it. Right. So next week, Silver Nemesis, Fifth Doctor, Callan, Edge of Darkness, and other shit. That's all we're doing next week. Brian, what good things are happening to you this week?
Okay, moving on.
Right, Spanky.
I can't say anything. Hopefully I'll get my van safety inspected because I'm working on the taillight wiring because I just discovered my tags are more than 1 month out of date.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
That's not good.
Yeah. So yeah, whoopsie. Oops.
Sorry, Cat.
Yes, Rosie has come to join us and
Cat's
remind us
ass.
that she should be fed.
You had 2 cat's asses for
No,
the price
really
of
can't.
1 tonight. I want you to know that. Wow, premium content. What are you doing this week, Elizabeth? Are you going to be happy? Are you going to have good things happen?
Hopefully, this starts for my seniors because I teach all seniors. This is the beginning of their final 5th week. So they have 5.
How many 5th weeks do they have?
Well, they have 5 weeks left of their before graduation. Well, before their last day, and then they've got a couple of weeks before graduation.
I tripped up the English
So they have
lit.
1 5th week.
The English
and then a
teacher, I
4th
tripped
and a
her up.
3rd.
She didn't put the comma.
And no, that's math, you see. That's just math. So hopefully, and you know, with
Maths!
medication, I'm feeling better. No.
Maths! It's mathematics!
No, just
Yes?
math. There's no plural for math, you heathen.
Right, you got one pair of scissors, you got another
Yes.
pair of scissors, okay?
Yes.
Next to each other. What the hell is that?
A
A
pair of scissors.
scissors.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you
A
sure it's
pair
not a
of a pair
pair
of
of
scissors.
a pair of a pair of scissors?
No, it's just a pair of scissors because they're just
Oh,
scissors.
you see, we're back in Schrodinger
Scissors.
territory again.
That's it.
We've got the
They're not
lap,
scissors
we've
there.
got the trousers,
They're scissors.
we've got the
They're
cat.
scissors.
Yes.
We're
Yeah,
proving
it's
quantum
scissors.
theory all the time.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a good week. Busy, but hopefully good.
I'm nearly finished paying off my 3 Doctors TARDIS
Ooh,
control
nice.
room.
All right.
To character option scale. Richard Young's done a marvellous job, and yes, I will be showcasing it on this show. Once I've got it looking right. I've got to get the lighting right, and this, that, and the other, and the colour behind the roundels has to be right. And it's got to be this slightly fading lilac colour. Or black. Take your pick. But it's 3 Doctors, so, yeah. I really need to make an appointment to see the doctor. I'm not ill. Well, I am, but not like that. I just need to go and see
You're
the doctor.
not sick, but you're not well.
Yeah, because I don't know if I told you what happened with the trans thing, that they basically discharged me. I hadn't lost any... I'd gone from 23 stone to, just under 17 stone. And they told
What's
me... I
that in
needed-
normal human terms?
I don't know, but hang on a second. Stone and ounces, you don't do metric.
Was it 16 pounds per
We don't
pound?
do stones.
Nobody does stones except for you.
I like I've said before, I'm caught at that really tricky moment. I got born at a tricky moment where we had both the metric system and the imperial system. And so I do strange things. I measure things in meters and feet, and inches and centimeters. It's weird. Anyway, what was I saying?
You went
That
from
they discharged
360
you.
to 270.
Discharged.
Oh yeah. So I'd lost all that weight, and they turned around and said, "You haven't lost enough, but bye bye." I'd actually gone down to their
Holy crap.
target weight and then gone at least a stone under it. And like I said, last time I went up there, they turned around and said, "Oh, well done. Now lose another 2 stone."
Frankly, it's just fat phobia in medicine. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
the
it
thing
boils
is,
down
because
to.
it's taken so long, I've been discharged. Which means I've got to go through the whole fucking thing again. I won't need, luckily, to go through the real life test. Because I've been living that for fuck knows how many years now. But I will have to go up to Charing Cross to get another. I was going to say recommendation. That's wrong.
Is referral the word
Right.
you're
Yes.
looking for?
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Referral. Sorry, my memory is really bad nowadays. Yeah. So, and the problem I've got now is I'm 55. I'm not too well. I certainly have no plans for a sex life. I'm starting to wonder if I should even bother anymore. That's how they've. That's the point
they've
they've got
worn
me
you
to.
down,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, it's going to be
That
another.
sucks.
It's going to be another few years. By which time I'll be 60, I reckon. It might just end up being more trouble than it's worth. Which is a very sad thing to say, if I'm honest with you. They've made it this way. Because
Yes.
they're so badly underfunded. And, oh yes.
Or by design.
And
because-
just to say it, the Equalities Minister and whatever this week has basically turned around and said it looks like they're going to now legislate for trans women not to be allowed to use the ladies' toilets or anything. We've always been allowed to.
In Europe, they're going to legislate that?
No, in England only.
In England.
Because as I've been telling you, it's been getting, it's becoming, it's a fascist state now. That, you know, I'm seeing people. They're not saying this to TERFs or anything else like that, but they're saying it just wondering to themselves, you know, is that going to be the next thing? Are there going to be lists made? People are scared. People are utterly terrified. I am. My only salvation is that I am getting on a bit. I'm not going to see possibly the end result of this. So, yeah. That's
It
fun.
is absolutely ridiculous. We've already been through this once.
Well, you have
It's
the
absolutely
I
ridiculous.
mean, you have the same problems
Time
in
and
the
time again.
States.
You have to keep fighting
know?
the same battles. just
I don't
different ways.
understand why we have to keep fighting the same battles.
Because
We've
we're
already
humans.
solved the
We
problem.
forget.
Well,
Because the
I didn't
human
forget.
condition is baseline stupid. That's why. So
I didn't
Because
forget.
good people
Evolving.
forget and shitheads always remain.
People
Oh, that's
good
who
way
are
of putting that.
horrible
I
shouldn't
like
be
that.
allowed to
learn
be in
history and
charge.
stuff. So you know,
Just if you're going to be mean to other people, you don't get to be in charge. You're automatically disqualified from being in charge.
I've told you
That
this
would be a good
before.
rule.
My life,
Love to have that rule.
the thing I live my life by is never be cruel, never be cowardly, just be kind. And you can't go wrong with that. I mean, don't be naive, but, you know.
It's just not that hard to be nice and
And
respectful.
I'll tell
to
you
other
this
people.
now. I've been so much happier since I've been doing that. You know, it's a
the way I
case
was
of
taught
if
was-
I've got a decision to make normally about a person, you know, and then it goes, is it cruel? Is it cowardly? Are you being kind? And I base my decision on that. So, it's, but with my life, I hardly ever have to do that. I don't meet people.
I was a Girl Scout for 12 years, and part of our pledge was show respect to yourself and others through your words and actions. It's not really that
Courtesy is a
hard.
I can't remember the Cub Scout oath. Probably have the
courtesy
Queen
is a
in it
coin you
somewhere.
can spend again and again. That's what I was taught, right?
And I love it how the right wingers are going after the Girl Scouts, and the Girl Scouts are saying, F you.
Yeah. Yeah. Girl Scouts have always welcomed trans girls.
Disney. Now, Vicky doesn't work at Disney, does she?
No.
Because they're being interfered with by Ron DeSantis. However, they've.
Oh,
already-
no, they
Oh, yeah, they
fucked him
did
over.
that to him and fucked him over,
Yeah.
but he's going to come back. He's going to
Well,
come back with
try.
He's
something.
gonna try, but
He's
Yeah.
talking
He's
about
not smart
putting
enough.
toll roads in near Disney, which is really not going to bother Disney one way or another, because once you spend
Yep.
the hundreds of dollars to go on a Disney vacation, you're not going to care about $2 to get the
$5
toll
for
road.
yeah,
Oh, I guarantee you it'll be more than that.
No,
They're
it
going
won't.
to they're going to realise, fuck me, why have we had this bloody
It
income
won't,
stream
because
all these years?
The thing is, it's not just tourists who take those roads. It's everybody who works there.
right.
It's everybody who lives there. And those people, the tourists come and go, and we don't have a state tax. So we're
But the
dependent
boaters
on
are forever.
Yeah, we don't have an income tax. We depend on sales tax for our state revenue. We depend on tourism. So if tourists don't come, you're screwing over your state budget. But the other thing is, those people vote. And although, you may, people in the service industry who work in the parks, Disney, Universal, Busch Gardens, all of those parks, some of which are in Orlando and some of which aren't, but they're all in this area. Those people tend to be the kind of people who are working service jobs. You're not talking about, you have the rich upper echelon people who are management, but mostly they're people who are working for lower wages. They can't afford to live there. They commute in. And their lives are as challenging as everybody else's. And they're working hard customer service facing retail and customer service jobs.
Some rather strict rules, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Disney casts, which, Disney does a lot of sketchy things, but Disney casts, they call them cast members, which means they can discriminate in the process because they're casting. They're not hiring.
I know Disney had a
does-
problem with the Jewish people, but
Disney has
Disney
done a
the
lot
man
of sketchy stuff.
rather than the corporation.
But the other thing is, there's a reason that Mickey Mouse is still not in public domain, and that's because Disney has the best lawyers money can buy
Huh.
and then some.
Some crazy copyright law and
Yeah.
manipulation there. Yep.
Because of Disney and its lawyers, and because they don't want to lose the right to Mickey Mouse. So they've manipulated the copyright law for the entirety of the United States. You don't mess with Disney.
No,
you
it's got,
just
it's
don't.
got to be global. They couldn't lose control of it outside of the US. They wouldn't allow that.
No, but the U.S. specifically. So it's not like death of the creator plus 50 years or
I
something
don't know
like that.
what
Like
the
it keeps
Disney
getting
thing
renewed.
is
No,
nowadays.
then
I
they
haven't been
made it
around.
to 90 years, and now it's like forever.
Haven't looked after any kids for decades. God, those were good times babysitting. They were lovely.
Nobody
kids.
wants to.
They're lovely kids.
Trust me. We don't want
So
Oh, those two you
he
would.
made a miscalculation messing around with them.
Yeah, he really screwed the pooch on fucking with Disney. He thought,
Yeah.
oh, I'll do some stupidness, ha ha ha, and it's burning him. It's
And-
really turning on him.
And if he does things like put toll roads in that area, now what you've done is increase the costs of goods and services going through those corridors, and you've increased the commute price for the people who live and work there.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but if you said to me, hey, your money's not going up anymore, but it now costs you an extra $20 a week to commute, and you've got to go to work, and Orlando's all highways. There are some places, because there's so much swamp, there's some places there's just only one way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to go on those roads.
Are the
And
swamps
so,
are the swamps freshwater or salt?
freshwater.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because Orlando's significantly inland, unless you watch Jaws 3D. Don't, by the way.
This is her knowledge from the Ark in space coming.
Space, yeah. That one's set at SeaWorld in Orlando, which
Is that the
somehow
one with
connects
Michael
to the
Caine?
ocean.
Yeah.
No, that one's Jaws the Revenge, which tries to erase Jaws 3D. Jaws 3D is the one with the water skiers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Louis.
There goes
Gossett Jr.
Fonzie.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
The
Because,
original Jaws
a
film is
An
fucking
80s
brilliant.
movie says class with Louis Gossett Jr.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to
Right.
go after. I recorded Commando the other day.
Oh, dear.
I've never seen it. At least
Come
I
on.
don't think I have.
That's
I may have
odd.
seen it in the 90s, but I would have been stoned out of my head. So there's a chance
Probably
I may
the
not
best
have
way to
done.
watch it.
So
Alyssa Milano plays the daughter.
That means nothing to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Lovely.
Who's the boss?
Charmed.
Charmed. Yeah, that would probably be.
Never
better.
watched it.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, you
Over
can
here,
tell I'm
who's the boss was the upper hand.
It had Tony Danza in it.
What I'm saying is we remade the sitcom.
Oh,
over
you
here.
remade it?
Oh. So you never heard the song "Hold Me Closer," Tony Danza?
The only thing I know from Tony Danza is
boy.
Taxi, and also apparently he's a right-wing moron.
I don't know, but I read his book about education, where he actually went and taught in a school for a year. So I don't know what his current politics are because I haven't followed them. So I can't tell you one way or another.
Okay.
But the
Is the
book
book
was
any good?
actually
He's
really
gone a bit.
good.
He's gone a bit Kevin
Isn't he
Sorbo.
dead?
We might. No, hang on. Wasn't that?
Kevin
Sorbo.
Sorbel's a fucking
I
moron.
was
Let's
going to
get
say
back to
Zach
the-
Allen. It's not Zach
Title.
Allen. It was Jeff Conway
Oh,
from Babylon 5 and Taxi.
yeah, but isn't he the one who messed up his back and was on a lot of pain meds and stuff like that?
Oh,
Wasn't that him?
Yeah, it
Oh, no,
fucked him
he's
up
still
totally.
alive. Holy shit.
Yeah. Who? Tony Danza.
Tony Danza.
Oh, there we
Yeah,
go
yeah.
then.
He's still kicking around.
He's 71.
Oh, bless him.
His
Oh,
book
he's
was
still got
really
a TV
good.
show out there. Yeah.
Right, we're going away because I'm starting
Life
to
After
suffer pain
Cheers
here.
or something, right?
Oh.
Or whatever show,
I
Taxi.
don't know. Like I said earlier, my knee's fucked for some reason. So yeah, it's hurting again. Along
About
with
to
my-
get
along
rain.
with my back. And shall I just make a list? No. Would you like to say goodbye?
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Ta-ra. See you next week.
You've got to fight for what you want, for all that you believe. It's right to fight for what we want, to live the way we please. As long as we have done our best, then no one can do more. And life and love and happiness are well worth fighting for. They're well worth fighting for.
Just so you know, we tried very hard not to have John Levine on Two Fan Dinosaurs. And yes, I am running out of these things. Go! Ta! For Joe.